In a world with good watches, bad watches, and a whole lot of Ned, how can a man survive? Insights, analysis, My Watches with Ben.
Welcome to My Watches with Ben. If you've never seen my videos before, well, we're glad to have you. On this channel, I review watches I own, and I perform score-based analysis of watch types. Today, I'm evaluating 163 dress watches between $2,400 up to 10 grand. So these are still four-figure watches, not quite up to five. I know I say 10 grand, but I think that's the upper limit. I think 9,999 is as high as you go. So four figures. Originally, I was going to call it luxury, the price range, because a lot of the watches in here are considered luxury watches. You know, we have Grand Seiko, Rolex, Omega, Jaeger LeCoultre, Cartier, Tudor, Hermes. Yeah, those are considered luxury. But where would that leave the five-figure watches that are in the next price range, over 10,000? So I settled on the term near luxury. I don't know if anyone else uses that term, but I'm using it here today. And for me, any one of these watches would absolutely be a luxury beyond my means. However, the term luxury is typically reserved for the highest priced items in any, whatever it is you're talking about, cars or I don't know. Are there luxury cars? There probably are. When you divide the watch market, the dress watches, into 6 chunks, which is what I did, this is not the top one. There's a chunk above this, over 10,000. So that's the luxury one. This is near luxury. And yeah, most of these watches are still steel watches. The gold watches, those are more expensive. There's a couple precious metal watches under 10,000, but the vast majority of the watches are still non-precious. They're just steel. My goal in this project is to evaluate all the watches on the market, all the dress watches, and just evaluate them solely based on their merits. So the micro brands and the independents are competing with the big boys on an even playing field. And what's unique about my videos is the depth of what's presented. Well, what do they say? The breadth. Let's say breadth, not depth, because I don't go very deep on the individual watches, but it's very broad. There's a lot of watches in here, and there's a ton of micro brands. And as we typically see in these analysis videos, there's going to be some upsets. There's going to be micro brands that handily defeat the big boys, just based on their specs and what they look like and stuff like that. Some of those micro brands or independents include Owan Geo, Le Bois, Corono Tokyo, Aurelia, Habring, Celadon, March Lab, Derizhki, Henschel, GOS, Selton, and many more. I don't want to list them all, but you'll see them. Before I go any further, I should mention, if you just want the top 10, please skip ahead now. I've already been blathering for a while. Now, a brief explanation of what a dress watch is. A dress watch can be defined by its purpose. Very Aristotelian here. They're simply dress watches that are designed to be worn at formal events. Form above function. It needs to look dressy. They tell you the time, but you're not Jack Ryan. You don't have timers and alarms and stuff. They don't even really need to be that robust. They just need to look good with a button-down shirt and a jacket, or a dinner jacket like I have, like $30 dinner jacket or whatever this thing costs. That maybe you want it to look good with a tux, and so you've got that black jacket. These are the things you think about. Sport watches also look pretty good with a tux. Where's my sport watch? I suppose this date homage is sort of a sport watch. Sport watches look okay with the tux. I know this is not really a tux, but anyway, sport watches look okay with a jacket, but they're not as formal as a dress watch on leather. The watch should be simple and elegant, and traditionally they are smaller and have lower water resistance. They usually don't have lume. They usually don't have a second hand. Those sorts of things. I've shown this slide before with comparing dress watch and sports watch. Here you go. I'm not going to read it now because I don't want to rehash it again. So yeah, I mentioned I developed a scoring system to assign the numerical value to the watches based on how closely the specs and the visual attributes align with the use case of the dress watch. I evaluate things like the case and crystal material, the size, the thickness, the movement quality, the brand strength, and many other data points. If you want the details, check out that scoring system video. And yeah, to give you an update on the project, the total number keeps increasing and will continue to increase as I knock out each video. We're now up to 1,820 total dress watches that will be covered in the full course of the project, and that number will increase. But with today's video, we've covered 1,048, bringing the project to 58% completion. So I'm past the halfway point finally. The next ones I'm gonna do is probably skeleton watches or open-worked watches. But if you're more interested in jump hour or regulator, I'd be happy to tackle that one next. Just let me know. Here are the results of my review of all these watches. And in this price range, there's a lot of green grades. Oh, this is a little shifted. Okay, well, this is still part of green, the B-. 37% of them I consider to be good dress watches. 34% are just okay. And then 29% are failing. I don't recommend them. And yeah, the target was kind of a third, a third, a third. And that's what we found in the market overall. But as you get up in price, we're seeing more good grades and fewer bad grades. So that's what you see here. Now we can go through the watches. At a viewer's suggestion, I tried switching the video order, starting with the lowest score and going to the highest. I'll keep doing that. It does make more logical sense. Gotten no feedback, but I think it's good. So I'll start with the one in 163rd place, just based on its score, and go all the way up to the one with the highest score. And then it'll be a runoff round of the 25 finalists, where I take more subjective factors into account, such as formal looks, masculinity. So we'll end up with a top 10 and 5 runners-up. Again, you can skip ahead if you want to see that top 10. I plan to go through the bad grade watches quicker than the good grade ones. A lot of those bad grade watches are just more sporty. They're more of a sport watch than a dress watch. But I'm done with my intro, and now we can get into the watches. 163rd place, last place, is the Torino Carrero Catania. Man, it's got a low score, 43, totally failing class. 200 meters water resistance, don't need it. Crown guards, ridiculous. How big is this thing? 44 millimeters, 15 thick. Mineral crystal, it's on here somewhere. Where's that mineral crystal? Right here. Not a huge penalty, but just don't get this watch. It's not good. Score 43. 162nd place is the Dietrich Time Companion. And yeah, did it need to be in the video? I don't know. It looked kind of dressy, but no, it's not a good dress watch. Score 52. 161st place is the Menace Horizon Midsize. They call it midsize. I'm saying it has a presence of 43, so it's a big one. These are actually clear here where you can see through to your wrist. It's kind of cool. It's specs. It's just too big. There's a lot of other problems too. Didn't pass the system. Score of 54. 160th place is the Eberhard Traversatolo. Again, it's big. The size is really the issue here. I guess I didn't cover that in the intro, but I'm wearing a 34. The issue with the larger watches is they just don't balance well with the shirt and the sleeve. It's just that it ends up being a problem. You'll see that when I show the mock-ups on the wrists. 43 is just way too big. Other issues as well. It's got a rubber strap. It's crazy. It looks like a lizard strap, but it's rubber. Not recommended. Score 54. 159th place is the Tag Heuer Link Date. This is their man's version. It's a 41, kind of big. I mean, it's a cool watch. It's a cool sport watch. Not a dress watch. Does not pass. Score of 55. 158th place, the Hermes H08. And I'm surprised. I thought this one would do better. It was in... I had it in my original, the very first one of these types of videos, like 2 years ago. The field watch video I did over 2 years ago. And I concluded it wasn't a great field watch. It's not. It's also not a great dress watch. Oh, right here it says 39 by 39. It's like a 46 millimeter presence, just gigantic. The date and the seconds and the loom everywhere. Not ideal. Score of 57, not recommended. 157th place is the Gavril West Village. Yeah, I don't recommend it. I mean, the Rolex Date Just, it is in this video. Yeah, get the Rolex Date Just. Don't get the Gavril West Village. $3,000. At that point, just save up. Like, $3,000 for Gavril? I don't get it. This looks super cheap. Nah, stay away from this one. Score 59, not recommended. 156th place is the Parallel Lab Peripheral. Again, it's huge. That's the case with a lot of these failing ones. It's really cool that you can see the rotor from the front. I like that a lot. It's a cool thing they do, but doesn't make it a good dress watch. Not recommended. Score of 59. 155th place is the JS Watch Ilandu. Islandus? Something between those two pronunciations. Just so darn big. 44. Big penalty here for that. Otherwise, it looks super cool. It looks very dressy. It's just way too big. That's the main problem. I mean, you don't really need a sweep second or a date on a dress watch. I like the ostrich strap. That's cool. But not recommended. Score 61. 154th place, the Olivier Jonquet Capitaine Noir. So cool. I love this hour hand. I mean, the aesthetics of it are top notch. It's just huge. It's a 43.5 left to right and up and down, giving it like almost a 47 millimeter presence. It's just going to take up the whole darn wrist. 50 millimeter lug to lug. It's just gigantic. It did get the large crown penalty as well. The crown is very big. Really cool watch, but we'll have better ones. Not as cool as this, though. You're not going to see another cool hour hand like this anywhere else. That is nice. Score 61. 153rd place is the Gavril Avenue of Americas. Looking like a Robert Mueller. It's really thick, 14 thick. Pretty big presence. I'm estimating 43. That's based on these dimensions here. 53 lug to lug. That's pretty big. Not recommended. Score 62. 152nd place is the Maurice de Marillac Pillow Tie. Man, this strap is bizarre. It looks plastic or something. I don't like that. I mean, they call it leather. I guess it's leather. How does it basket weave and leather? Don't know, but it's way too big. Score 63. 151st place, another JS watch. This one's a little bit smaller. It's the Friesland Classic, 42 millimeters. Yeah, I mean, subtle differences between this one and the other one. This one has numbers here for the minutes. It's not a dressy thing to do. I do like these blued hands. I mean, it's a nice watch, no question. Doesn't fit the purpose of a dress watch. Score 64. 150th place is the Able 1911. Doing the integrated sports watch sort of thing. You can take the bracelet off, though, if you wanted to. It is a quartz. You've got the ticking second for $2,500. That seems like a lot to me. I don't know who owns Able. They're probably not doing that great. Jumping on to a dying trend. Is the integrated sports watch dying? I don't know if it is. These screws look bad. It's derivative. It's clunky. Disjointed. Oh, I said mother of pearl dial. Looks like just white to me. Maybe they must have a mother of pearl version. Not recommended. Score 65. 149th place is the Rado Anatom. It's ceramic. That is super cool. Ceramic case. It's a cool looking watch. They have their little anchor that swings around. Looks very distinctive. I don't think it's best as a dress watch, though. It's more of an everyday watch. I mean, you can wear it with a suit, but for formal events, going to the opera, I would choose something else, something more traditional. Score of 65. 148th place is the Cuervo y Sobrinos Hemingway Iconico. Whoa, what date is it? It's on the product shot. The date hand is kind of wigging out here. That's weird. Maybe it's in between flipping over from 12 to 13. I don't know. I want to like the Cuervo y Sobrinos watches. They all have these corne de vache lugs here, the cow horn lugs. There's something about it. It doesn't do it for me. They do want you to think about cigars. It's a Cuban watch. Ernest Hemingway. Maybe he'd have this watch. It's a cool one. There's a lot of penalties on here for dial aesthetics. It's just way too busy. You know, a dress watch is supposed to be simple and clean, and this is exactly the opposite. So that's why this score is so low here. Score 65, not recommended. 147th place is the Vempe Iron Walker 36. I really like their style. It's a cool style. Obviously reminiscent of the Oyster Perpetual or the Datejust. Kind of doing a little bit different thing. It's only 36 millimeters, so it's not getting a penalty there. You know, that's great size. They do have extraneous text on the dial. They've got the minute Arabics, the date, the sweeping seconds, the loom. Sport watchy things to do, not dress watchy things to do. Crown guards. So that's why it doesn't pass. Score 65. 146th place is the Fears Brunswick 38. Dial aesthetics are not too bad. Practicality seems to be a problem here. Yeah, 38 by 38 is going to give it a big presence. Not recommended. Score 65. All right, the first one it's possible to recommend. It's the Gucci G Flat. It's $3,100. Presence, I'm saying a 40.6. Thickness of only 10. That's pretty good. It does have an automatic Swiss movement inside. Looking like the Santos, the Cartier Santos, with these screws here. They didn't do it on the full bracelet, just right out here. Interesting color of dial. They're doing their own thing here. I mean, it's inspired by the Cartier Santos, obviously, but doing some original stuff. Out of the box, not recommended as a dress watch. Swap it off the strap. I say, yeah, go for it. It can get up to a passing grade, 73, C- if you swap it off the strap. One of the things that helps it is it has gold plating here. There's some actual gold on the watch. That's pretty nice. Score 66. 144th place is the Zenith Defy Skyline. Yeah, it's a sports watch, clearly, with this rubber strap and everything. I don't even think you could really change it, because then you have a super thin strap that would look weird. You know, cool technology in here. They've got their in-house movement that they make. Zenith makes their own movements. That's really cool. It's just too big. It's too thick. It's too big. 13 is going to be hard to cram under the cuff. Even 11 millimeters thick is a little bit iffy. So I don't recommend it as a dress watch. Cool sport watch. Score 66. 143rd place is the Oak and Oscar Humboldt 7-year. I think this is their dressiest offering. I just wanted to put an Oak and Oscar in here. I think they're overpriced. I don't get it. I do like the sledgehammer counterbalance on their second hand. You know, this brass does not look good with the steel. You know, two-tone I don't think works here with brass. Not a great dress watch. Score 67. 142nd place is the Fears Redcliffe. Looks very plain to me. You know, Fears, they have a few watches that stand out, that look cool. This one is just very by the book. Not trying to do anything fancy here. This crown is huge. What the heck? Yeah, kind of an uninspiring watch. Doesn't pass my scoring system. Score 67, not recommended. 141st place is the Tag Heuer Carrera Date. And this is the 39 millimeter version. And get it off that strap, and I can recommend it as a dress watch. It does have that low contrast, which is nice. You know, kind of muted appearance. There's a lot of branding on here, unfortunately. They do have the Minute Arabics. That's a sporty thing, not a dressy thing. It's really just a sport watch, but it can kind of do double duty if you put it on a nice strap. Score 67. 135th place is the Bulgari Octo Roma. $7,800, 41 millimeters across, 9.2 thick. They do not offer it on a leather strap. You can get rubber or bracelet. But if you swap it to a leather strap, I think you could make it work as a dress watch. It is kind of large, and it is looking pretty sporty, but it passes the class if you swap the strap. Score 67. 139th place is the Menace Divido. $7,800, 40.5 across, 11 thick. You can't see on my dark background, but there is some daylight here somewhere around the dial. You can see to the back. That's kind of fun. Cool pattern on the dial. I called it artwork. It's just something interesting to look at on the dial. That's one of the things dress watches have to tackle, is when you have minimal text, you just have indexes. When everything's just really clean, the watch can look kind of boring, you know, so they have to do something to spice it up. I like this artwork. It's got some other colors. There's no date. It is on what they call a rubber strap. It's like a mix of fabric and rubber. I think it would be dressier to put it on leather. These are kind of aggressive, but according to the scoring system, it's passing. It will get better as we keep going. This is not top of the class. Barely skating in if you swap the strap. Score 68. 138th place is the Perle Cleopatra. $9,800, 36.5. Great size. 12.9 thick. I did penalize it for a garish design. There's diamonds everywhere. It's really cool that the rotor's on the front, and look what they did. That is so cool. Mother of pearl. It looks really nice. It is more of a lady's watch, obviously. Great size for a man, but the design is really garish. Apparently this one is titanium. You wouldn't think that it would be, but it apparently is. If you love diamonds everywhere, I guess is a good option. Wow, expensive too. Passing if you swap that strap. Out of the box score of 68. 137th place, the Colloquium Project 2. $4,228, 39.5 across, 12.4 thick. Really interesting three-dimensional dial they have here. Looking like topography. It's very cool. I'm sure that contributes to the thickness though. It's thicker than it needs to be. Well, it does need to be thick enough to accommodate that crazy dial. Thicker than it should be. And probably has a bubble dome crystal. The crystal height does matter. You know, it is harder to get it under the cuff when you have a domed crystal. It just doesn't slide right under like you'd want it to. Out of the box score of 68. 136th place is the Union Glasuta 1893 Power Reserve. You do indeed get a power reserve. I didn't penalize power reserve, but I didn't give a bonus either. I see how it's cool, but it also kind of disrupts the dress watch. And I kind of think those things just balance each other out. So cool to have, but I don't consider it a bonus for a simple dress watch to have it. I think they have a cool regulator, if I remember correctly. We'll do that in the regulator series. This one actually has alligator leather. That's fantastic, but doesn't pass the class. It is big, it is thick, medium crown, extraneous text everywhere. Score 68. I'm sad to see this one where it is. 135th place, the Oris Big Crown Pointer Date, 36 millimeter. Man, you'd think it would pass. My system is a little bit too harsh on the dial aesthetics here. It's too much stuff on the dial. It's just, dress watches are not supposed to have so much stuff on the dial. It's just the bottom line here. The lume, the lume looks bad. I wish they hadn't done that. I really like the coin edge bezel. I mean, I really like this watch. It's very distinctive. It's very cool, but it's not a great dress watch, in my opinion. Score 68. 134th place. It did really well in the Gotta Watch series, not doing so great as a dress watch for formal events. It's the Longines Conquest 38, $2,400, 38 across, 10.9 thick. Yeah, I really liked it for Gotta Watch because it kind of does double duty. It looks pretty sophisticated, but it's also got some ruggedness to it too. You know, silicone balance spring, 100 meters water resistance, screw down crown guards. Those were good things for Gotta Watch. Not great for a dress watch, but as a Gotta Watch can do, a good one, you can put it on a nice strap, and I do think it's suitable as a dress watch. Not going to be top of the class. That's what you get with Gotta. I've been getting a lot of questions about Gotta watches. People wondering about my top 10, and yeah, you have to see the main video to understand my philosophy on what it means for a Gotta watch. Maximally useful in multiple scenarios. Able to be used in a utilitarian scenario and in a semi-formal scenario. That's what this is. Not the best dress watch in the world, obviously. Out of the box score 68. 133rd place is the Raymond Weil Freelancer. $2,817, 40 millimeters across, 9.8 thick. The champagne dial looks really nice, but unfortunately there's a date. There's a sweeping seconds. There's minute Arabics on the outside. There's this kind of prominent second track thing going on. It's unnecessary. It's a sport watch that's leaning a little bit more dressy. And if you swap it off that bracelet, I think it's suitable as a dress watch. But out of the box, score 68. 132nd place is the Panerai Luminor Due, PAM 01426. I really like these Panerai watches. It's hard to put them in a box. They're their own thing. It does have a big presence. Did I write? Oh, it's a 38 by 38. Oh, all right. The feel is probably a little bit less than this is implying here. So perhaps the score should be a little higher. Probably should be. But still not a great dress watch. Score 68. 131st place is the Bruno Sunli Stuttgart Handaufzug. On the larger size for sure. Not recommended. Score 69. Still have a lot more that are not recommended. Then we'll get into the good ones. In 130th place is the Alexander Classic A153. Clearly copying Breguet here. The dial is stunning. I really like that. This is just... It cheapens the whole thing to have this ugly date window here with this ugly border thing. Even the counterbalance, the second, we don't need it twice. Like, it's too much. I think they could have classed this up more. I don't get it. And that's a lot of money for just a Breguet ripoff. You're spending this type of money, you can get really nice watches. You can get Zinn. You can get like legitimately really nice watches. Not Alexander. Not recommended. Score of 69. 129th place is the Archanaut Arc 2 Phantom. This is a cool layout for a dress watch. I love the dial. The purple hands are very stunning. I love all of that. The case is really not dressy. Silicone strap is no good. Ordinarily, I'd say swap it off the silicone and you can get it up to a passing grade, but they don't allow that. It's a proprietary system. They don't have leather straps for you to buy. So this one, unfortunately, just can't make it. I don't think silicone is the right look with a tux or a suit. Silicone is the wrong way to go. Score 69, not passing. 128th place is the Cuervo y Sobrinos Heritage. Yeah, these watches are very distinctive. They're very unique. I like what I'm seeing. It's just too big. Got your minute Arabics. I don't know why they do that. Kind of copying FP Journe here with these little screws here. It's a cool thing to do. They're homaging FP Journe a little bit. I mean, it's a cool watch. Not recommended as a dress watch. Oh yeah, it's 13 thick. That's a pretty big penalty. Score 69. This one's a really cool one. 127th place is the Ralph Lauren Stirrup Large. There's a smaller one that is passing. This one is just a little too big. That's probably why it's not passing. 12 is really thick. The button strap actually didn't get that big of a penalty. Very classy looking, very unique. And again, the smaller version of this one does pass, but this one does not. So I'll leave it at that. Score 69. 126th place, the Tag Heuer Link Mother of Pearl. Oh, and this is a 32 millimeter. So 32 does get a little bit of a penalty. Not a huge one. You know, until I actually tried a 32 millimeter, I didn't realize that 32 is totally fine. It feels weird the first day you wear a 32. You're like, oh, my watch is kind of small. Oh, it's also upside down. But it looks good. And it made me realize that you kind of can't go too small with a dress watch. You can go too big, and it looks weird. But I don't think a small dress watch looks weird whatsoever. It fits, you know. When it's just your bare wrist, it's more noticeable. But when you actually have the sleeve, it doesn't look out of place, in my opinion. So 32 is fine. This one is just not going to be recommended because of the weird bracelet. I'm just not too favorable of bracelet watches for dress watches. And you can't swap this one out. It's not passing. Score 69. 125th place is the Ralph Lauren Vintage 67. I really like the looks of it. It looks really cool. This looks a little rough here, though. It's not very refined what they did with the lugs. The hours are so cool. It looks very old school. Looks almost like a pocket watch or something. Calling back to simpler times. Love these hands, the black hands. Doesn't pass my scoring system. Score of 69. 124th place is the horologie Decaflux. $3,373, 40 millimeters across, 10 millimeters thick. And it passes. The second hand is really obnoxious. They did not need to do that. They're clearly homaging the Rolex Milgauss, trying to be like that with the petrol dial. I think that's called petrol green. This just looks cheesy. It looks like a kid's toy or something. You know, it comes with your Buzz Lightyear action figure or something. It's not good. I also don't care for Harage's text here with the pointillism. Doesn't do it for me. Extraneous text. I'm not a huge fan of this watch, but it did pass the scoring system if you swap it off the strap. Out of the box, score 70. 123rd place is the Gavril Mulberry. It looks super dressy, minus the date and the sweeping second. It looks good. Oh, and the extraneous text. I mean, I could nitpick all these things that are on the scorecard. That's what the scoring system's for. It's too big. That's the biggest part. Yeah, that's a pretty big penalty here. -5. If it was a more reasonable size, it'd be passing. But it's not. Score 70. 122nd place is the Gavril 5 points. I would choose this one over the last one. I think it looks really cool. But this one kind of has different problems. It's got loom on the hands. It has minute Arabics. You know, still has extraneous text. Still has, yeah. It looks a little bit more refined than the last one to me. But they could meet in the middle and have a good dress watch. And also this one's a little too big. Tiny penalty, but I think 40 is too big. 40 is doable. It doesn't look ridiculous, at least on my wrist. I'm just using my wrist as the benchmark. My wrist is slightly bigger than average, 7¼ inches. But then also, I know that people favor larger watches, so I think it's fair to use my wrist as kind of an example. You'll never please both sides. Guys complain to me, there was a comment recently that, those 38s are just way too small for me. And then I have guys with smaller wrists that say 38 is still too big, and it's like, it's tough to meet in the middle. 38 actually is a pretty good middle ground. For dress watches, I think 35 and 36 are the best sizes, but better to go too small than too large, in my opinion. I was lenient on the sizes. Really was. See, it's not a huge penalty. Total score is 70. 121st place, our first Longines is the Longines Master Romans. $2,550, near the bottom of the price range. 40 millimeters across, 9.4. You get a lot of value with Longines. They have extremely high brand strength, according to watchcharts.com. That's where this comes from. Very good brand strength, but they're not crazy expensive. They're in a more attainable price range. And yeah, I mean, I mentioned for me personally, any of these watches would be a luxury beyond my means. I don't have $2,500 to spend on a watch. And more critically for me, I would just have to save up for a long time to be able to afford one. Like, my collection is more than $2,000. It'd be hard for me to pare it down and just have a few really expensive ones. But my point is, Longines is more attainable than a lot of other brands with high brand strength. This one's still sporty, but it's getting more dressy than some of the sport watches we've seen so far. And take it off the bracelet, and I do recommend it. Out of the box score, 70. 120th place is the Sartori Biard SB04 Tim Masso, the Tim Masso version. And I don't recommend it as a dress watch. It's too big. I don't know why Tim Masso went with one so big, because he has smaller wrist, and he often mentions that 40 is too big for him. He has to toe the line because he's trying to sell watches too, and he's trying to sell watches that are 40s, but it's not the best size for him. Oh, I gave it the loud colors penalty. And we're talking about fashion, but I don't think loud colors is the best way to go with a suit. When you're in a more formal event, it's better to have something a little more conservative. It's a matter of personal taste, but this one does have loud colors, and that's generally discouraged with dress watches. Traditionally, they're supposed to be white dial. I think gold dial is pretty good too. I find black to be really nice as well. I've worn this black dress watch, actually with this jacket for symphony. I only have this jacket for symphony gigs. It's just a check the box thing. Sometimes you have to have a white jacket. My point is, the purple is very loud. Small penalty. Not passing, score 71. 119th place is the Oris Rectangular. Oh, Oris. I hope there's a passing Oris watch in this video. I think there is. This one's not it. The presence of 30.2. What? 25.5 by 28. Okay, so this one actually is kind of tiny, and it is getting a little penalty for that. It's on the smaller size. And, you know, I've heard with rectangle watches, the lug to lug is the most important length. And you can kind of just pretend lug to lug is the same as diameter of a watch. So maybe it feels more like a 38 when I do the length by the width and divide by pi, or I know that's not the actual formula, but you know, an equivalent circle area for this rectangle is 30.2, excluding the lugs. So the lugs are doing a lot of work here, though. It makes the watch seem a little bigger than the watch head actually is. All that said, my final score is not passing, score 71. 118th place, 117th of the ones I can recommend if you swap the strap. It's the Tudor Monarch, hot off the presses. This is a brand new watch, based on an old one, I think. But yeah, this came out just last week or something. Cool how they have the Romans on the top and then the Arabics on the bottom. I mean, it's a really cool watch. It's very angular here, the angular case. There's some weird design elements. There's some dissonance going on. The hands are cool. They incorporated the snowflake into these more traditional looking hands. I like that a lot. The train track is very classy. It's a really cool watch. It's a little bit thick. It's 12 thick. I'd like to see that less. But if you get it for sporty things, I think, you know, in true Gata form, if you swap this bracelet off for a leather strap, it's a recommended watch for me as a dress watch. Out of the box score of 71. 117th place is the Habring Squared Irwin. I don't know why my text formatting doesn't come through on scorecards, because in the spreadsheet it's got what do you call superscript for this too, but it didn't come through. Anyway, you can see it on the dial. $6,800, 38.5 across, 10.6 millimeters thick. It's got that tuxedo pattern to the dial here. Breguet Arabics, very cool. The quality is super high on these. In-house movement. Hopefully I have a picture of the movement. Usually I pull the pictures first, so I have kind of an idea of what they are. I didn't do that on this one. I'm recording first. So hopefully I can find a movement. Beautiful hands. So well polished. Hands are an area that kind of distinguish just good watches from really great watches. And you can tell they did a great job on the hands. Swap it off that bracelet, and I recommend it. out of the box score of 71. 116th place is the Heged Pearl Mirage. It's 39.6 left to right, but with this blocky case, it's got a feel more like a 42. It looks cool. It's definitely cool looking. The counterbalance is really nice. Low brand strength, that probably cost it. I did factor it in. There's 4 points here. When you count the 0, I guess that's 5 points of differentiation between a watch with some brand strength and a watch with no brand strength. And this one does not have the brand strength. So, that is a factor people consider when buying a watch. It's not an exactly even playing field between the big boys and the micros, but they do compete. And some of these micros do really, really well. This one's just shy of passing, score 72. And we've finally received harmony with these yellow seals. 115th place is the Zhu Sandstrom Royal Steel Classic. $5,704. 36, great size, 9.2 thick. Wearing experience is great. Practicality, 25. Maybe getting a little bit of a weight penalty because of the bracelet. Yeah, swap it off that bracelet. This is a great dress watch. Well, it's an okay dress watch. I don't know if we get all the way up to great, but it's an okay dress watch. It still has non-dressy things, the date window, the second hand, the extraneous text, the loom. We're heading in the right direction, though. It's like a breath of fresh air to see a dress watch in my dress watch video. Or a watch that could be a dress watch if you swap it off the strap. Out of the box score, 72. 114th place, the Hermes Cut. $7,450, 36 millimeters, 10 millimeters thick. Yeah, good size. It is a little more dressy than that other Hermes, the H08. The orange is still a little bit discordant to me. Something a little weird here with these numbers, the way they angle. You do a flipperoo here between 3 and 4. It's a little bit funny. I'm not a big fan of that, honestly. Kind of frumpy case situation. It's a little bit weird. 130 crown. Swap it off the strap, and I recommend it. Out of the box score, 72. 113th place. I really like this one. The Bell & Ross BR05 Mother of Pearl version. They've got like a green one, a black one. I think they even have a bronze case with this. Mother of Pearl is probably the dressiest option. $4,500, 40.6 presents, based on a 36 by 36 square, 8.5 millimeters thick. So even though it's a 36 millimeter, it's not going to wear like one. It's going to have a lot more presence than that. Things that aren't dressy are like the brushed case here. It's not a dressy thing. Obviously, the bracelet is a problem. Said you can swap the strap. They do actually offer other strap options. I know, for example, that green one has a green leather strap that goes with it. So I think it's possible to get other straps for this BR05. Yeah, crown guards aren't dressy. Loom's not dressy. Can skate through if you swap the strap. Score 72. All right, the first one out of the box to receive a passing grade is the Concord Mariner Gent. $2,400, 40.5 across, 8.9 thick. Doing the integrated bracelet sport watch thing, but this one at least is minimal enough that it can kind of pass as a dress watch too. That's my conclusion based on the scoring system I designed. This one skates through. I like the cool dial. That's very nice. This is a little bit loud here. It doesn't need to be so bold and dark, but it's a cool watch. Score 73. 111th place, the Eberhard 8 Jours Grande Taille. We've got some foreign languages here. $4,250, 41 across, 11.3 thick. So yeah, it's kind of big, 41. It skates in. It's a really dressy looking watch. That size holds it back for sure. The thickness and, the diameter. It's actually on alligator leather. That's pretty cool. The strap width is kind of too small. It looks weird. And probably on the wrist, it makes the watch head look even bigger. You've got such a narrow strap. I do like that power reserve, though. That is pretty cool. 8 jours. Those are days? You have 4 days of power? Dang. Oh, but it's hand winding. So you just wind it all day long to get up to the 8 days. That is really cool. I would love to have a hand winding watch with a power reserve. Be able to see that on the dial. That is so cool. But again, it does detract from the cleanness of the watch. Cool one. Score 73. All right, the first big boy, I guess. Wait, it's only $2,000? Longines and Tudor are in the same price range. I did not realize that. But 110th place, the Tudor 1926. $2,425, 36 across, 9.2 millimeters thick. This one does not do it for me. There's a clash of colors here. I don't like that. If you're gonna go this color, why isn't the dial the same color? I think that would look really cool. Or maybe charcoal numbers or something. This doesn't do it for me. I'm sure it does it for somebody. Clearly a sport watch, but you take it off the bracelet. Well, you don't have to. You can pass with the bracelet, I suppose. Yeah, but it'll be an even better dress watch if you take it off that bracelet. Yeah, there's just a few dark penalties here. Oh, and this got the bonus of chronometer standard. So it's not certified chronometer, but it has the same accuracy as chronometer, for what that's worth. Score 73. 109th place is the Jaeger Laboratoire. $3,400, 38.5 across, 11 thick. It's one of those micro brands. Yeah, the brown for a dress watch is not my first choice. The black or white might be better. I don't know. I just showed you the brown. I thought that was kind of interesting. Clearly it's French, automatique, screw bar lugs, low brand strength, like the last Jaeger we saw. This one gets more of the dress watch stuff though. Pretty good size. Kind of long lug to lug though. It's a little bit thick too. Total score 73. 108th place, we got to an Oris that's passing. The Oris Big Crown Caliber 403. It's a pointer date. They changed it up though. They modernized it. For better or worse, I don't know. It's $4,300, only 38 millimeters across, 10 millimeters thick. Yeah, they lost something with this redesign. It does look fresher. I like the small second. I think that's a great thing to do. But I miss the cool numbers they used to have. That 4 that they had that was kind of rounded. It's too bad. They went sans serif. They just kind of took away the character. It does look cleaner though. It's still a lot of stuff on the dial. Got some cool colors. It does barely pass the class. It's not the best dress watch still though. Score of 73. 107th place is the Able Sport Classic bracelet. $4,400, 37 across, 8.6 thick. Yeah, this is better than that last Able we saw. It's still on this bracelet. I think maybe you could swap it. It is looking a lot more dressy. I love the gold hands. They chose sans serif Romans. The watchmaker or clockmaker is 4 here. The 4 lines. It looks cool. I would love with the date removed. There's no second hand. This might be the first watch with no second hand. Finally, we're getting there. By the end, we'll get to really great dress watches. This one's pretty good, especially if you take it off the bracelet. You put it on an alligator leather, it would get up to 80. Good grade. So that's good to see. I'm glad we're seeing some good grade dress watches. Although out of the box, score 73. 106th place is the Raymond Weil Freelancer Cushion. $3,089. Presence of 38.4. Thickness of 9.3 millimeters. Really cool pattern here on the dial. It does have extraneous text, which I defined as having more than 3 lines of text. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4. That's extraneous. Jubilee bracelet. I said garish design. Suppose I could go either way on that. That's kind of a stiff penalty too. Maybe that was a little harsh on this one. One man's garish design is another man's just really cool looking watch. It's a neat one. Definitely suitable dress watch. Score 73. 105th place is the JS Watch 101. It's $2,400. Only a 32, nice and small, 10.3 thick. Again, 32 is great. Don't worry about it. It's not going to be too small. I like the bezel here. It's kind of a half coin edge. The Romans are beautiful. There's no minute track. Really classy looking fonts here. These script fonts. The hour hands are cool. The date and the sweep second are unfortunate. Beautiful ostrich strap. Really doesn't have brand strength. It's a suitable dress watch, but we will see better for sure. Total score of 73. 104th place, the Tiffany & Company Union Square Steel. $5,000. Presence of like a 34-ish. 10.5 millimeters thick. Yeah, it's 30 by 30 for the watch head. But like I've said before, these lugs go out beyond. Looking to the lug to lug might be a little bit more appropriate. 39 lug to lug. I don't think it's going to be too small. It is very weird to me that the 10 is missing. That makes this whole thing just look bizarre. I think the blue one is really nice on this too. It would be Tiffany blue, not this baby blue right here, but that's what that's supposed to indicate. Very classy, not top of the class, but an okay option. Score 73. 103rd place is the SUF Helsinki 180 kilo blue. 2,900 bucks, 38.7 across, 9.4 thick. Is this the California dial? I think it is, with the Romans on top, Arabics on the bottom. That's cool. Yeah, it's decent. The thing with SUF, like, their watches are never that exciting to me. Don't understand why there's a period on S and U, but none on F. Don't know what that means. It's reasonable thickness. That's good. Dial aesthetics leave something to be desired for a dress watch. Score 74. 102nd place is the Eberhard 1887 Remontage. Did they even have wristwatches back then? Maybe they did. 4,697 bucks. 41.8. It's getting bigger. Only 9.6 thick. I like the dial texture. It's looking a little bit cheap though. I don't know what it is about it. The date is an eyesore. That looks really bad to me. Does apparently come on alligator leather, so that's really nice. There it is. It's hand winding. That's kind of charming. Score of 74. 101st place is the Hublot Classic Fusion Racing Gray Titanium. So is it a racing watch? 8,300 bucks, 38 millimeters, so not crazy big, 9.6 thick. This one is titanium. The brushed elements do detract from the external aesthetics here. Brushed case. Yeah, there's a penalty. And these screw things, that's not ideal. It's a little bit fun and fresh sort of thing rather than sophisticated. But I think it's a suitable dress watch. Score of 74. 100th place is the Hermes Slim de Hermes. 8,025 bucks, 39.5 across, 9 millimeters thick. The orange and the stencil numerals does not make it look formal to me. And the orange stripes on the strap, I didn't have any way to penalize that, but that doesn't look too great to me. It's okay. It's better than the other Hermes we saw. This might be the highest scoring Hermes. The other watches aren't super formal. This is a okay one. Score 74. 99th place is the Tudor Royal 36. That's a cool one. 5,900 bucks. It's going to have a feel, I estimate, like almost a 39, and it's 9.7 thick. They call it a 36 left to right, but with the case situation going on, you know, it's going to wear a little bit larger. And with the bracelet, it does have actual gold plating, so that's nice. It's a little bit funky, but definitely cool. It's kind of a dated look. Not in a great way, in my opinion. But I love a gold dial. Gold dials are nice. Got a gold one right now. I think it's a good look. Total score of 74. 98th place is the Grand Seiko Shunbun. Shunbun SBGA 413. 7,200 bucks. Even though it's a 40 millimeter, I'm saying it has a larger feel. The way these lugs work here. It's just kind of got a larger presence there. Thickness of 12.8. I mean, Grand Seiko has got to get a handle on the thickness. That's like their Achilles heel for their watches. They just always seem to be thick. I don't know why that is. This one was specifically requested by a viewer. They said, hey, don't forget this one. So here it is. Beautiful dial. Just stunning. It's a really nice shade of pink too. It's not too loud. So that's a shade of pink I can get behind. Absolutely. Great brand strength, all that kind of stuff. And obviously you can take it off the bracelet. I think it's a much better dress watch. You know, if you get 6 more points, be a good grade dress watch. Score of 80 on a leather strap. Score 74. 97th place is the RGM Model 25 Guilloche. 9,950 bucks. 40 millimeters, 10.4. It's clearly an amazing watch, but that price is crazy. You really have to be on board with getting some kind of independent watch if you want this, because you can get Rolex for this amount of money. So why would you choose RGM over Rolex? If you buy watches that are 5 figures, maybe this one seems like a bargain to you or something. I think that's a lot. It does have an automatic Swiss movement inside, but yeah, crazy expensive. You're probably paying for this guilloche, and it is stunning. Like, you're never going to see something like this from Rolex. They just don't do that kind of fine watchmaking stuff. The blued hands look really nice too. I think 40 is a little big though. Total score of 74. 96th place is the Maurice de Marillac Classic. 2,900 bucks, 39 across, 12 thick. A thickness problem again. We'll see them get thinner as we go, which is good. It's very, very plain. Yeah, it's not doing it for me, but I can kind of understand the appeal. These numbers don't look very refined. They look pretty bland and plain, almost like you'd see on a Timex. So that's not very upscale. Score 75. 95th place is the Maurice de Marillac L3. $3,637 to 36.5. That's better. 10.5 thick. Yeah, this one's a little more interesting than the last one. It does unfortunately have lume. And I only said loomed hands, but you can see the loomed indexes as well. I do think that breaks it up in a bad way. I don't like the white lines here. Case is very plain, not looking very dressy. Score 75. 94th place is the Henschel H2 Hoffenmeister. $5,968, 38.5 across, 10.3 thick. I love the red 12. I think that is so cool. This is looking like a deck watch, or what else did we call those? A marine watch. That's what it's looking like. It's got that same format. It's a cool look, and I think that's a look that's appropriate as a dress watch, particularly when it's a more reasonable size. Sometimes those marine watches are like 45s and stuff. This is a suitable size for a dress watch. Got some other cool colors too. And apparently it has an in-house movement, so that's impressive. Score 75. 93rd place is the Armand Nicolet LB6. $6,171, 43 across, 10.5 thick. Yeah, the biggest penalty it's getting is the size. It is too large, but otherwise it's a really solid dress watch option. These leaf hands, is that what they are? These Dauphine hands that are kind of cut down here. Looks nice. It's classy. There's a little bit of extraneous text going on, but when you go really minimal, that's not always a horrible thing. Apparently it uses some kind of restored movement, so that's pretty interesting. Total score 75. 92nd place is the Breitling Chronomat 36. $5,800, 36 across, 10 thick. It looks good. They probably market it as a women's watch, but 36 is totally suitable for a man. It does apparently have a timing bezel on it. I think it was penalized slightly for that because it's not a dressy thing to do. Again, you're not Jack Ryan timing when the bomb's going to go off or whatever. And the minute Arabics, that's another penalty on here somewhere. It is looking pretty classy though. I do like Breitling. Score 75. 91st place is the JLC Master Control. $9,550, 40 millimeters across, 8.8 thick. Looking a little sporty. A lot of these ones with the scores in the 70s are. Does have a nice leather strap, nice blue leather strap. Probably go well with a gray suit. It's a cool one. Has an in-house adjusted movement. That's great. Nice hands. Unfortunately, it does have lume on there though. It'd be nice if that was gone. I would prefer that. Total score of 75. We got to the Rolex. 90th place is the Rolex Datejust 36. Beautiful watch, amazing watch. It is a sport watch, but you can dress it up. It's $8,150, 36 millimeters across, 12 thick, surprisingly. The same thickness as their Submariner. Why is it so thick? That is bizarre. For that water resistance, and again, that's kind of what makes it a sport watch, is that they're going for that water resistance, but for dress watch, you don't need it. This one can do double duty though. You put it on an alligator leather strap, that score would go up to 81. That'd be much better. But as is, on the bracelet, I still think it's an okay dress watch. If you wear this with a suit, you're not going to look weird. It's just not the most formal in the world. If you wanted it to be more formal, you could actually put it on the alligator leather. I know Rolex doesn't encourage people to do that, but you could do it. 904L stainless steel. Got a nice extension on that bracelet. That is a nice quality of life improvement. If you like a date, well, here it is. You do have the lume and the sweeping second hand. We'll see at least one Rolex after this as well. Total score of 75. 89th place is the Mula Glasuta Teutonia 2, small second. $2,799, 41 across, 13 thick. Really thick. That's the darkest penalty on the score. Yeah, size is big. That's definitely not great. That's what's making it an okay grade instead of a good grade. Does look pretty darn classy, but these lugs are kind of chunky. Not my first choice for formal by any means. It is decent. Score 76. Another big one. In 88th place is the Jacques Dro Grand Ur Minute. $8,400, 43 across, 11.8 thick. It's just a really big watch. I don't think it's going to be great for dress watch. They got all the other stuff though, very minimal printing, almost sterile in fact. And then very minimal minute marks. Got these little applied dots here. That's really nice. The blued hands are pretty. The crown is interesting. Have these nice tapered lugs. It comes on a nice alligator leather strap. But yeah, not my first choice. Still just an okay dress watch. Better to go smaller, absolutely. Total score is 76. 87th place is the Lang Retro Green. So they have an orange one and a green one. $4,103, 39 across, 8.4. Probably should have given it the penalty of loud colors, because this is loud and kind of obnoxious, the green. I think this one did okay as a hand-winding field watch, actually, when I scored it that way. It's kind of fieldy and a little bit dressy. You know, the syringe hour hands, that's the hallmark of field watches. It's cool. I mean, the strap is a problem for formal. The strap is very informal looking. It's nice and thin, though. It's kind of a mixed bag. Total score of 76. 86th place is the Union Glashütte Noramis. $2,802, 40 millimeters across, 10.4 thick. And yeah, so many of these have the date, they have the lume, they have a central sweeping seconds. I guess that's just what people want, but it's not very dressy. You know, it's a great business watch, and you can wear it with a suit, obviously. It's just not quite as formal as the ones we're going to see near the top. Lots of colors available on this one. Total score is 76. 85th place is the Ming 37.02 Minimalist. $4,087, 38 millimeters across, 11 thick. It's cool what they do. They print on the underside of the crystal here. I like that a lot. It gives it this neat three-dimensional effect. The lume looks cool in the dark. Completely sterile dial. I mean, I know it says Ming right here, but that's so tiny. I still gave it to them as a sterile dial. These lines are really interesting. I like that. Their logo is really pleasing. They stamped it into their silicone strap. Rubber, they call it rubber. Man, that rubber has got to go. Be a much better dress watch, not on rubber. Otherwise, it's a pretty solid option. That crown is big. That's a penalty. But we're getting better all the time. Total score is 76. 84th place is the Philippe Piccolic Classic. $9,500. Wow, expensive. 41 across, 10.5 thick. This is a hand-winding watch, and apparently it's been hand decorated. So hopefully I'll have a picture of that. Classy looking hands. They are very large. And how do you tell the hour from the minute? There's like a millimeter of difference in the length. That's a little bit weird. The dial is very plain, and there's a little bit of dissonance here between the main part of the dial and the sub-seconds. That looks kind of weird. You have to be careful with colors. When you have a color dial, those differences can be more pronounced. This full white printing here is a little bit off to me. I think that'd be better if it was like dark green or something. And again, I think 41 is large. Total score of 76. 83rd place is the Tiffany & Company Atlas. $5,600, 38 millimeters, 9 millimeters thick. Yeah, it's a classy looking Tiffany watch. I like that. I really like the engraved numerals here. It's really quite interesting. It gives the watch a lot more character than other more sterile watches. I mean, it's still sterile, but they decided to have an interesting design element there. I like that a lot. Again, this wording could be more subtle. It doesn't have to be full black. It could be just dark gray or medium gray right here for Swiss made. Decent watch, even on the bracelet. It'll score even higher on a leather strap. Score 76. 82nd place is the IWC Portugieser. $6,950, 40.4 millimeters across, 12.3 thick. I think IWC is another one of these brands that just struggles with thickness. Their watches always seem to be thick, like Grand Seiko. This one, I don't understand why. It's 30 meters water resistance. So where's the thickness coming from? This is another example of like a deck watch / marine watch. This one's a little bit bigger. This one's probably carried by its brand strength. IWC has higher brand strength than that Henschel we saw. Decent one. It certainly looks nice. And it's probably going to look pretty good in less formal settings as well. You know, the problem with a really formal watch is it can look odd when you're not wearing a suit. And watches like this Portugieser, they can kind of do both. Total score of 76. 81st place is the Ophion 411 Vesper. Get your 411. It's $4,670, 39 across, 11.5. Yeah, did we used to call 411 to get information? That's crazy. I forgot about that. I wonder if you can still do that. I like these cow horn lugs here. Really interesting crown. Did get a medium crown penalty. It's a little bit large. Loud designs. This is really a lot going on the dial. It does give it more character though. It's quite excessive. So many dots. Just dots everywhere. But that's what micro brands are for, right? Just do something a little different. At least they went out there. Try to do something new that we haven't seen before. Total score of 77. 80th place is another Mula Glass Huta, the Teutonia 2 chronometer. Yeah, what's different about this one? Huh, $2,799, 39 across, 11.9 thick. Yeah, this was the other one. Oh, this one has a small second. The other one had a central second. That other one was thicker. Yeah, maybe I was too thorough here. Do we need both of these? Anyway, they're both Teutonia 2s as well. Well, this one scores a little better. It's not quite as thick. So I suppose I would choose this one. And the lugs are shinier. So that's nice. Total score is 77. 79th place. I have trouble pronouncing this. I'll try. The Seju Sandstrom Royal Capital. $7,323, 40 across, 8.1 thick. The logo needs work. This looks weird. This doesn't look great. The brushed case doesn't look great either. It's really kind of plain. I do like this rounded date window. That's nice. It's nice and thin, only 8 thick. That's great. Alligator leather strap. It's got some dressy things for sure. But $7,000, man. Just save up a tiny bit more and get yourself a Rolex at that point. Total score of 77. 78th place is the Mont Blanc Star Legacy Automatic. $3,050, 39 across, 10.3 thick. Beautiful dial here. I really like this pattern. I love the font for the day date. It's nice and classy. Roman numerals are really nice. This color is really interesting too. It's kind of a gray brown. Just a touch of brown in there. I really like that. The case is not wimpy. It's a masculine shape, but it's also still refined, nicely polished and everything. It's a cool one. Score of 77. All right, 77th place. Okay, we're not done with Hermes yet. Here's the Hermes Cape Cod. $6,200. Presents, I'm saying of 37, based on a 33 this way, a 33 here, top of the case to the bottom, not counting the lugs. So it's going to have a larger presence than just that. What is the lug to lug? 46. It'll have plenty of presence. No, don't worry about that. 11 thick is okay. I do like the shape of this. It looks like a belt buckle or something. I like that. These numbers are really interesting too. The date could go, absolutely. The lume should go. You should not have lume on this type of watch. Does apparently come with a deployant clasp. That's a small bonus. It's nice to have. I've got a watch with a deployant clasp, and that does make it seem a lot more classy. Total score of 77. 76th place is the Raymond Weil Milsim Small 39. $3,089, 39 millimeters across, 10.3 thick. This is looking good. It's fresh. It's classy. The lume is a problem. Why did they put lume on these hands? They could have made them a lot better without the lume. The color is really nice, kind of a champagne color. You can also get gray / silver and black. I think the champagne is the way to go though. Strap could definitely be classier than this, with the little cords sewn through here. This is a nice one. Total score at 77. 75th place is the JLC Geophysic True Second. $9,523, 39.6 across, 11.5 thick. Why with the lume? It is classy though. There is a JLC that gets a lot higher score than this one. I would go for that for dress watch, not this True Second one. And it's called True Second because it has a deadbeat second hand. That second will tick 60 times per minute. So if you want an automatic watch that looks like a quartz, this is the one for you. I think this is the only deadbeat second watch in the video. The thing with JLCs is they're very plain. They're just very plain watches, kind of fly under the radar. And that's not always a bad thing with dress watches. You're all gussied up. The watch is just supposed to be an accessory. It shouldn't be stealing the show. It's kind of the philosophy. Total score of 77. 74th place is the Holthenrichs Signature Ornament, 38.5. $4,678. It's got a feel almost like a 42 with all this crazy case stuff going on. Thickness of 9.9 millimeters. Comes on a nice ostrich strap. You can see that very clearly here. That's nice. Looks like it's very high quality. Made in Delft. I have no idea what Delft is. My goodness. I don't think I've heard of that before. The green lume is actually pretty interesting. There's something interesting with the dial as well. It almost looks a little bit see-through or something. Almost like frosted glass or something. Maybe that's just the picture they took. It looks really nice. This signature is really cool here. I like that a lot. It's a grade 5 titanium case. That's pretty sweet. An interesting offering. Score of 78. 73rd place is the Selton Spiral. $2,899. 39 across. 10.9 thick. I like these guys. They do really interesting things. Yeah, I'm a fan of this brand. This second hand, though, I don't know about that dark blue. I mean, I would prefer no second hand at all, but maybe a different color, like a gold second hand would be very cool on this. I think that's a bit much, especially because you have a different shade of blue and they don't really go together. That's the main issue. Yeah, black or charcoal colored second hand would probably look better, just from a continuity standpoint. Love the dial. That's wonderful. Total score of 78. 72nd place is the Longines Heritage Classic Sector. $2,750, 38.5, 11 thick. A little bit of a tuxedo thing going on with these different colors, the white and the silver. I like the Sector. That's classy. Very minimal text, no date or anything. Nice small second. It's a classy watch, almost up to the good grade. It's a lot of tiny penalties here. I'd like to see it thinner. Total score of 78. 71st place is another Ophion, the Ophion 786 Velos. $4,253, 39 across, 10.5 thick. Beautiful pattern on the dial. I really like that. They've got their interesting logo here. Nice brigade numerals. An actual applied railroad track. That is super cool. Don't see that very often at all. Brands usually just print these things. That looks so cool. I like the hands. They're very interesting. All three of the hands are interesting here. I like them all. And yeah, this is very impressive what they did here with the guilloche. And it definitely is guilloche on this one. Yeah, it's a really cool one. Almost up to good grade. If it had higher brand strength, it would be a good grade watch. Score of 78. 70th place is the Louis Erard Petit Second. $3,122, 39 millimeters across, 12.3 thick. Beautiful stone dial. I love that they made the small seconds sub-dial interesting here. They offer a couple other stone options, a black and a green. I like the hands. I like the indexes here. Why do they have minute Arabics, though? 5, 15, 25? Don't get it. I don't think that's necessary. The lugs look really long. My goodness. With a 39 case, those are some long lugs. The strap is a bit loud. I think this would be better on a black strap. It's a cool option. Score of 78. 69th place, clearly a ladies' watch, is the Tudor Claire de Rose. $3,250, 34 across, 11.1 thick. I've got a 34. I know mine's a little bit more squared, but it's not too small. It can work fine for formal events. Beautiful guilloche pattern. I love the applied Romans. The cabochon crown is really interesting. You are going to be stuck to this bracelet, though. You're not going to be able to swap this out for something else. So that is a factor to consider. A suitable dress watch, score 78. 68th place is the Kudoke Classic. $5,800, 41 millimeters across, 9.3 thick. And yeah, it's thinner due to that hand winding movement, which they have hand decorated. I bet that thing is gorgeous. Hopefully you'll be able to see it. I like the onion crown. I like the pattern. You get a really nice movement with this one. And then you don't have to spend brigade prices. Total score of 78. 67th place is the Franck Muller Long Island. $7,200, 35.2 presence, 7.1 thick. Nice and thin, really thin. It is a quartz movement. That helps a ton in making a watch thinner. The dimensions are 26 left to right, 37 top to bottom, with a 44.5 millimeter lug to lug. It will have plenty of presence on the wrist. They have these wacky numbers that they like to do. That does draw some attention. The strap is also a very loud color here. This is definitely a suitable dress watch. Score of 78. 66th place is the Ming 3708 Starlight. $5,659, 38 millimeters across, 10.9 millimeters thick. Beautiful stone dial. Like the other one, you have the printing on the underside of the glass. I like that the hour and minute hands are so different. That's really cool. I mean, these Ming watches really do leave an impression, and I like what they're doing. Very adventurous lugs here. Gigantic crown. I only said medium crown. It didn't quite get to a large crown penalty. That's a pretty large crown, though. Total score of 78. 65th place is the Sartori Biard SBO4-E. Exquisite. That's probably what the E stands for. $6,400, 39.5 across, 10.3 thick. Beautiful dial. I mean, they clearly put most of their resources into that beautiful dial. I really like that. You've got a degradé and this really sharp cut guilloche here. Looks fantastic. I like these indexes. Those are really nice. Like jewel cut indexes. Very nicely polished case. Unfortunately, it's on silicone. You could change that. I mean, I definitely would. I do not want to wear white silicone. That's not really getting the formal aesthetic. That does seem to be a little bit of a trend, though. It's sort of like mixing formal with leisurely sort of thing. I would prefer just straight formal. I prefer the leather. It's a really cool one. Score of 78. 64th place. I promised we'd see it. The Ralph Lauren Stirrup Medium. The medium size. $3,800. Feel like a 37 millimeter. And thickness of 8.8. And yeah, do I put the dimensions? Oh, they're up here. Okay. So 32.4 by 34.3. It's going to have more presence because of the irregular shape. So yeah, again, feel more like a 37. It does have that bun strap. So you're going to have leather on the back of the watch. It's kind of nice. The case shape is just so distinctive, looking like a horse stirrup. I love these Romans here and the black hands. It's very classy, very minimal text. Yeah, this is a cool one. Very unique watch. It's not too thick. Nice Swiss movement in there. No date or anything. No second hand. Very dressy. Score of 78. All right, another Tudor. 63rd place is the Tudor Black Bay 1, 36 millimeter. $4,375. And yeah, it's 36. 10.5 thick. When I first did the scores, I think they had a 38 and a 34. And I think now they've replaced both with this 36. They kind of met in the middle. I think that was a good move. It's a great size for a dress watch. It's a great size for a watch in general. If you've never worn a 36, I highly recommend giving it a try because it's not as small as you think it's going to be, most likely. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is the 36 right here. It's just a normal size watch. I have a 7.25 inch wrist. 36 is not absurdly small. It's just a normal size. It depends on the watch. If it's a pilot watch or something, yeah, that's too small. Some kind of tool watch, 36 is going to be a little weird. But for dress watches, I think it's a great size. Even sport watches or Gata watches. I think this one did really well in the Gata watch video series. Still clearly more of a sport watch than dress watch, but I think it can do double duty. Score of 78. 62nd place is the Zinn 534. $2,960, 34 millimeters across, 9 millimeters thick. This is our first finalist. I choose these just based on how much I like the watch. I just, at the end there's 25 that all compete. And it'll be the top 5 scoring and then 20 other ones that I just chose. And I chose this one. Nice mother of pearl dial. Unfortunately, the lume. We don't need the lume. That's too bad. And it has a sweeping second. It's not getting a really high score out of the box, but some of that is due to this bracelet. It's a -7. If you put it on an alligator leather strap, this watch all of a sudden is a score of 87. Much better score. And some of that improvement in score is due to the lower weight. What did I say here? 127 approximate weight, down to 65 grams. So you save a ton of weight by taking it off that bracelet. This one will be in the finalists. I love the faceted bezel here. That looks so cool. I don't think I've seen anyone else do this. And that's a really nice thing to do. Out of the box score of 78. 61st place is the Cuervo y Sobrinos Grand Reserva. $3,280. 40 millimeters across, 11 thick. Really nice pattern on the dial. They've got their Cuban thing going on here. This elaborate symbol here at 12 o'clock. They really want you to remember that it's a Cuban watch brand. Like the cow horn lugs, These are kind of loud designs. They do kind of get your attention. They're classy at the same time. So they're striking that balance between kind of almost provocative but also classy at the same time. The red is a little bit cheap looking to me. I would prefer not to have the red pop on the second, at least for a dress watch. They could put gold here. That would look fantastic. It's a cool one. Score of 79. 60th place is the Gavril Times Square. $3,795, 41.9 presents, 9 thick. And yeah, its dimensions are 31 left to right, 44.5 this way. The 51.5 millimeter lug to lug. This is going to be a beast. It's going to wear very large. It is also very classy. I like the gold. I'm a fan of gold, especially when you're dressing up. I think that's a cool thing to do. I like the stripe pattern in the middle. Nice railroad track. Interesting indexes here. Classy hands, no loom on them. Small second. It's got a lot going for it. Its biggest penalty here is for being big and having low brand strength. If it improved in either of those areas, it would be a good grade dress watch. Score of 79. 59th place is the Louis Erard X, the Horophile. As in horology. $2,905, 39 across, 12.3. Going Art Deco. I really like it. I didn't like when Hermes curved their numbers here, but I think it looks better on this one. They leaned into a more retro aesthetic, and I think it looks good that way. Oh, that's right. These don't flip. That's what I like about it. Gravity is pulling these to the center all the way around. Yeah, Hermes flipped them here. They had the four going the other way. Yeah, this is nice. I prefer it this way. I like the black hands, kind of an Eiffel Tower shape to it. Really minimal, small second, like these Zen sand garden type patterns here. The salmon is really nice. It is a little bit thick. The printed indexes, it'd be nicer if those were applied, but almost a good grade watch, but not quite. Total score of 79. 58th place is the Glashütte Original Senator 60s. $7,500, 39 across, 9.4 thick. Very cool numbers on this. It's a very interesting watch. A little bit weird with the gold and then the black. I don't know why there's loom. We don't need it. And those tiny dots. The thing is, you slap them on there, that costs money. It costs more than just regular paint. But then the loom is not actually going to do very much whatsoever. Probably just the ambient light, you're not even going to see it. You probably have to charge it up to even see what these dots look like. That's just conjecture, but it does cheapen it. I would prefer the loom gone, out of there. I really like the case though, and these numbers are really interesting too, like I said. Apparently has an in-house movement. Sweet. Score 79. 57th place is the Korono Tokyo Bunkyo Tokyo. $2,420, 37 millimeters across, 10.5 thick. A lot of circles here. They went with the busy look there. The hands are stunning. I love that kind of rounded texture to it. It's really nice. This is classy as all get out. I love that. I love seeing the kanji. I'm going to call it kanji. People say, no, that's katakana. And I'm like, okay, I don't know which one it is. I love the writing, the oriental writing. We'll go with that. Maybe that's less offensive or more offensive. I don't know how to tell the difference between these different writing systems of Japan. Cool watch. I really like this cream colored dial. I like these applied indexes. It's a cool one. Score of 79. 56th place is the Jaeger LeCoultre Reverso Classic Monoface. $9,000. Presence only of 32.7, I'm saying. Thickness of 7.6. It's not a huge watch. What is it? 24.4 by 34.5 right here. Lug to lug of 40. When you get to lug of 40, it does have some presence. Maybe not as small as a 33. I mean, it's very small left to right. But in a suit, you don't even see the left to right because it's under the cuff. So it'll look like a normal size watch. Just an amazing watch. Love the Reverso. This is the one with the Arabic numerals. Do they have a Romans one? They actually don't sell it on an alligator leather, but you can get an alligator leather. And if you do that, it all of a sudden goes up to a score of 86. Very good score. You lose a lot of weight. And then, of course, the alligator leather strap is so much classier than the bracelet. So I have chosen it as a finalist. I forgot to mention on that last one, I will treat it as though it's on the leather. So if you can spend $9,000 for the watch, you can spend another $100 on an alligator leather strap to go with it. It does have an in-house hand winding movement. Of course, it has its party trick of flipping the case over. This is the one with the mono face. There's not another watch on the other side. It'll just be steel. But you can get that steel engraved, and that's a really cool thing to do. You can put the date of your marriage, something like that, some meaningful date to you or something like that. The blued hands look so beautiful. They get your attention because the rest of it is kind of reserved. But this pattern here in the middle fills it all out. There's even a nice little pattern on the periphery. They clearly know what they're doing with this design. There's a reason it's so enduring, so classic, and imitated so much. So this is definitely a finalist. Didn't quite get to the good grade, but again, swap it to a leather strap, and it's a good watch, a good dress watch. Score 79. 55th place is the Omega Globetrotter. $8,700, 39 across, 12.6 thick. Wow, getting kind of thick there, Omega. Love the pie pan. I love the bezel. It's a beautiful blue. They did so much really well with this watch. Thickness is a problem. That's why it's not a good grade watch. It's just really thick. You know, they do also have the sweeping second and the loom. So it's not all sunshine and roses with this one from a dress watch perspective. But it is a really cool watch. And of course, you can find vintage versions of these. I mean, with these Omegas, I highly recommend, if you're comfortable finding an older version, they will be so much cheaper. They will have just as much class. Yeah, I do wonder how much are these Globemasters on the secondary market. On Chrono 24, I'm seeing new Globemasters for half this price. So you don't have to spend $8,000 for an Omega Globemaster. I learned that today. And it is a master chronometer. Oh, right. Omega's movements are thick. That's why it's so thick. They do the coaxial thing, and that's just a chunky movement, apparently. Total score of 79. 54th place. It's the last of the OK watches out of the box. It's the Rolex Oyster Perpetual 36. And here's the number if you need it. $6,750. Wow, not too bad. 36 millimeters across, 11.5. Thick. It's looking pretty dressy. It really is. And if you put it on a leather strap, it looks even dressier. And that score, again, goes up. We lose some weight. It's more appropriate for formal events. It looks really good. It's good grade on a leather strap. Deserving of 18th place. But out of the box, it's deserving of 54th place on the bracelet. Get your 904L stainless steel case. That's interesting that they use that different metal. It is a more expensive metal. And I believe it's more corrosion resistant, just a little bit more over the 316. It has some other properties that are superior to 316. I think those differences are oversold. I don't think there's a huge difference between the metals. I think this maybe has more nickel though, which does tend to bother people. It does have an in-house movement. It's a chronometer. Get your coronet. Get the Rolex brand name. Only $6,750. Like, I can't imagine why. Personally, I just can't imagine personally why someone would spend more than this, not for a Rolex. I guess because they're hard to get. Maybe it's hard to get an OP. Really cool watch. I wouldn't call myself a Rolex fanboy, but I definitely like their watches, as I think everyone who's into this hobby, you know, you recognize how cool a lot of the Rolex watches are. Out of the box score of 79. 53rd place is the Mont Blanc Bohème Day and Night. $4,300, only a 34, and it's 9.5 thick. Looking very feminine with the diamonds on here and kind of this shade of blue, especially with the strap. It's looking a little feminine. You can masculinize it a little bit with the black strap. It does have a day-night indicator, and I was trying to figure it out. It's 10 o'clock, and the sun is over here. Is this supposed to be 10 p.m.? That doesn't make sense because it's already night at 10 p.m. So I don't know what this means. Is it 10 in the morning and this goes counterclockwise? I don't know. Hopefully you'd figure that out. Probably makes sense in person. Sometimes the display models are non-functional. Maybe these things aren't aligned with the hands. The date window is very cool. Kind of an eye pattern there. I like the dial pattern. It's a really cool looking watch. I like what Mont Blanc does. They're classy, but they are a little bit more adventurous than some of these other more establishment brands. And I like it. Total score of 80. 52nd place is the Armand Nicolet L15. $5,919, 39 millimeters across, 10 millimeters thick. Very plain looking watch, totally bare bones, but it doesn't say JLC on it. So if you really want a plain watch, go with JLC, especially again, used or secondary market, because Armand Nicolet, $6,000. That's just shy of the Rolex Oyster Perpetual. Year 1967. Why do they have a year? Oh man, some head scratchers with this one. Total score of 80. 51st place is the Sartori Biard SB04. $4,324, 40 millimeters across, 11.5 thick. Beautiful guilloche. I mean, like that other Sartori Biard, they really invest in those dials, and you can tell. And that's wonderful. That's a cool thing to do with a dress watch. It's a chance to have a little bit of bling, something impressive. I think impressiveness is important with the dress watch. It's difficult because you want to be impressive, but you also want to be a little reserved. And so this one, the color's a little bit loud on this, but I understand why you do that too. You tone down everything else. You have a nice flashy watch. I can see the appeal in making that sartorial decision. It does have a grade 5 titanium case. Nice applied numbers here. Okay, and they flip their numbers halfway around. That's not so bad on this one as with the Hermes. I think it's because the 3 is missing. So this one looks pretty good. The 3 and the 9. I like it. Score of 80. Good dress watch. Another watch with a stunning dial is the GOS Seric Frost. $9,500. 41.5 across, 11 thick. Oh, the hands are stunning, especially in this shot they have here, where the light source is catching the fact that there's this nice delineation between the sides of these hands. Beautiful. And then all this like stardust stuff going on here, and just the electric blue. I mean, this is fantastic. It's hard to do something plain that just looks exquisite at the same time, and they pulled it off. I like how you've got reverse indexes here, where it's a cutout instead of something. It's like a negative index instead of a positive index. It looks really cool. Sort of like the rims of a car wheel or something. Beautiful watch. Completely sterile. No words on it at all. That's rewarded in the score. Really cool watch. It's a little big is the problem. And you can kind of see it on the wrist here. Once you add a sleeve over the top of this, it's going to be a little big, in my opinion. Score of 80. 49th place is the Henschel H1 chronometer. $9,493, 37 across, 10 thick. Okay, this one's scoring a little higher. Oh, it's only a 37. Nice. No red 12 with this one. It's looking very classy. They put it in front of classy looking photo. It's one of those deck watches, marine watches. I really like this one. The color is really nice on it too. It might be ecru. I don't know if I can identify ecru, but maybe this is it. In-house chronometer, hand winding movement, nice stamped leather strap. Apparently comes with a deployant clasp as well. Very classy looking. Score of 80. 48th place is the Lebois & Company Heritage. $2,611, 37.8 across, 10.5 thick. Good dimensions. It's a good dress watch size. A touch thick, not crazy though. I like the applied Breguet numerals. I like this cream colored dial. I like the case. I wonder if this is some kind of render though. Could be. They do offer it in blue and black, but this is the most traditional dress watch color. Interesting suede strap. Look classier on a glossy stamped black leather strap or alligator leather. Apparently this is a chronometer as well. Chronometre. Cool. Score of 80. 47th place is the Daruzhki & Company Guy Allen Air. In case you missed it, it's Air. There's a plane. $3,980, 38.2 across, 11 thick. Yeah, I have a hard time not making fun of this. Looks like a kid's bedroom or something, like, oh, little Johnny, who's 7 years old, he really likes planes, and you put this up on his wall or something. I think it's kind of juvenile, personally, but I can see the quality of the watch. Just the style choice here is a little bit much for me. But based on the scoring system, it does get a good grade dress watch score. If you love these boat planes, or what do they call it? Land in the water. Maybe this is the one for you. Total score of 81. Oh, Really classy looking one, the Aurelia Collective Edition 1. 4,420 bucks, 40.5 millimeters across, 9.2 thick. Beautiful, almost linen pattern here on the dial, and then totally minimal. There's no hour markings at all, no minute markings that I can tell. I'm seeing a little bit of stuff here, but I don't know what that is. I don't think those are hour indexes. The hands are really cool. I love the circle. That just fleshes it out. And then you see how stark it is with the dark out here. Like you can really see there, it's missing. Those indexes are just gone. And I love how the circle angles down a little bit at the bottom to give it kind of almost like an eye shape. That is super cool. Really nicely polished. Nice cupcake looking crown here. Apparently it's real alligator leather. Probably ethically sourced, but refer to the product page for that information. Beautiful watch. Really like this one. Maybe it should have been a finalist. I tried to stick with finalists that were higher up, except for some of the, Rolex was a finalist. You know, those more famous watches I put in. This one's really cool. Biggest problem, I guess, is low brand strength of Aurelia. Score of 81. 45th place is the Longines Ultrachron Classic. 3,900 bucks, 37 millimeters, and 11 thick. Decent size. Decent looking watch. Kind of a retro style. Ultrachron, and then this crazy logo here. That doesn't quite match up here with what's on top, but it is a neat looking watch, especially on this strap. It's very dressy looking. This one's also a chronometer, although it doesn't say it on the dial. Total score of 81. 44th place is the Baume Mercier Clifton. 8,850 bucks, 39 millimeters across, and 10.7 thick. This one is actual gold, pink gold. That's the thing. If you're going to spend 9,000 bucks, get you a gold watch, and you can with this Baume Mercier. Cheesy branding on the dial. We do not need that. Minute Arabics, don't need that either. They're close, but no cigar. I mean, they're not going to be top of the field for dress watches. Kind of corporate watchmaking here, but it does have a lot going for it. I mean, it's pink gold. That's one thing going for it. Perhaps a very sensible option for a dress watch. Score of 81. 43rd place, beauty, the Korono Tokyo Grand Arushi Aoyama. 6,461 bucks, 37 across, 10.5 thick. This one's a finalist. And yeah, I just won't mention what these are here. I apologize for saying Oriental symbols. That's not a classy thing to say, is it? Stunning dial, just gorgeous. They went full minimal here. There's no markings. I really like that for a dress watch. I think it's a classy thing to do. It's a little bit avant-garde, but it's also very striking, and it really calls more attention to this beautiful dial that they have. Apparently there's also a brown and a red. All those are going to be kind of hard to pair with an outfit. I mean, if you're full white, if you have a white jacket and everything, sure, why not? Just wear whatever you want for the color. That's totally fine. I guess it depends on what you're wearing. Tuxedo, yeah, this would work for that too. Navy blue suit, maybe it's okay. Maybe the green's all right. Total score of 81. 42nd place is the Vempe Zeitmeister Classic. 2,880 bucks, 38 across, 11 thick. And it is gold plated. It's a steel case, but you have actual gold on it. That's nice if you're spending some money. 3,000 bucks, get some actual gold plating. That's sweet. And I think this one's gold plated as well. You can get watches on the secondary market that are gold plated or even straight up gold for less money than you'd think. It is a chronometer. You can't miss that. They have a paragraph of text. They might as well put their address on here, their phone number. You know, that's a lot of information. Good grief. Very long lugs on this. 48 millimeter lug to lug, 38 case. 5 millimeter lugs on both sides. It's pretty long. This one will be going to the finalists as well. Score of 81. 41st place is the Franck Muller Vanguard V32. 7,600 bucks. Feel like a 38 and thickness of 9.9. It is apparently 42.3 this way to this way, and only 32 left to right. So I've disclosed the information. I think it'll have a feel kind of just like 38, especially if there's no sleeve. They do their wacky, oversized numbers. It's one of their signature design elements. Looking a little bit sporty, but also pretty classy. The loom, though, get it off. I'm really looking forward to the rest of the video where we're going to see less lume on the hands. I guess most of these don't have lume at this point, but it's just tasteless, in my opinion, on a dressy watch. This one is quartz. It's a quartz movement, but with no second hand, who's going to know the difference? You'll just pick it up and it'll tell you the right time, and that'll be awesome. Score of 82. All right, another Grand Seiko. You'll be seeing a lot more Grand Seikos. This is the SLGBW005. $9,700. Man, they charge a lot. 38.3 across, 10.4. Yeah, the Oyster Perpetual is 6 something. They're charging a lot more than Rolex Oyster Perpetual for a very similar watch. Oh, and it doesn't say grand on it. It just says Seiko. And it says GS here. I do not understand the nuance. They do have an in-house hand-winding movement. It's probably some really fancy movement. It says high beat right there. The cheesy branding. Like, okay. All right, guys. Why is there a lightning bolt? I don't know. It's supposedly hand-winding. Yeah, the brushed case. This isn't the one I would go for. There's some cooler Grand Seikos coming up. I'm sure this one has its fans, though. Score of 82. 39th place, the Atelier Wen Ancestra Jiao. $5,850, 38 across, 11.3 thick. Chinese characters on here look really cool in kind of like a paintbrush style. I like that a lot. I'll assume this is 1 and that's 3 and so forth. Beautiful dial. Stunning. I love the white all the way to black with all this blue in the middle. It's gorgeous. This track on the outside is really cool too. It serves more of like a continuity. Oh, well, I guess you actually get the indexes. I said no minute track, but you see them there. There's the gaps here in the pattern on the outside. Okay. Well, either way, it's a beautiful watch. I like these types of lugs too. Makes the watch a little more interesting. My Vostok Retro has those same lugs. I don't know what they're called exactly. That is super cool. Nice looking crown. Yeah, this one's really attractive. So it's going to be one of the finalists. Score of 82. All right, on to Nomos. 38th place is the Nomos Tetra 408. $2,570. 33.3 presence. Only 6.5 thick. Super thin watch. Nomos is great about that. It's a 29.5 millimeter square. Lug to lug is almost 41. I like these lugs. It's a little too square for me. Very sharp corners. Sort of like Wendy's square hamburgers. It gets your attention. You're like, whoa, this is really different. Very bright blue hands. Very stark black printing. Thin Arabics here. Cool style. It's a little too square for me, but I get the appeal of this one. A little bit quirky. Score of 83. 37th place is the Frederic Constant Premier Romans. Got Roman numerals, because I think they have one with Arabic numerals. It's $2,595, 38.5 across, 10.7 thick. Looking really classy, like the dark hands. I love this pattern here in the middle. Romans only at the quadrants. We don't need the minute Arabics, but otherwise, I really like it. The gold looks really good with the black and the white. There's great continuity. It's a great color scheme to go with the tuxedo. Nothing is going to stand out and be obnoxious. Yeah, there's a lot of value in Frederic Constant. They make some classy watches. They don't charge ridiculous amounts for them. It's a good dress watch. Score of 83. 36th place is the Furlan Mari Disco Onyx Diamonds. So we can assume these are some baguette diamonds here. $4,414, 38 across, 9 millimeters thick. Really interesting woven bracelet here. I called it a mesh bracelet. It does have one of those on-the-fly style adjustment systems that the mesh bracelets often have, where you get these little micro adjustments that you can make. Really get a good fit. My experience with mesh bracelets is they're very comfortable, and this is a really cool one. It does have a recessed crown here. It's a lugless design. Very striking look to it, just with this, just a circle. It's a 38 millimeter circle, so appropriate man size. Yeah, it's a cool one. I do like how black dials look with formal wear. I know white is more traditional, but I think black is a good kind of second option. And obviously, it depends on the design of the watch. A white dial would look silly with this. I do like the black. And even though they have these bumps here, these are not lume. It's just like a bump on the hand. Total score of 83. 35th place, a more reasonably priced Grand Seiko. It's a Grand Seiko Elegance SBGW 231. 4,300 bucks, 37.3 across, 11.6. Yeah, this is a more compelling choice as a competitor to the Oyster Perpetual. They've got their signature Dauphine hands, this really cool script for Grand Seiko here. I like that a lot. I like these indexes, a little bit more masculine. They seem Japanese to me. Kind of these sharp edges, and comes on an alligator leather strap. It's a very reserved watch, which is good for dress watches. Fantastic dress watch. It's got that in-house Grand Seiko movement. Score of 83. 34th place is the Habring 2 Felix. 5,850 bucks, 38.5 across. Only 7 thick. Very thin watch here. Very minimal. I like this texture on the dial. Kind of a frosted look to it. And the silver, shiny silver. Very minimal marks here. They do have an in-house movement here. That's probably totally gorgeous. No minute marks. You just get the hours. That's really nice to do with the dress watch. I like this one. Score of 83. 33rd place is the Mont Blanc Star Legacy Small Second. 3,460 bucks. 36 across. 10.8 thick. Great size. 36 millimeters. Beautiful pattern on the dial. I like the charcoal gray here, both for the numerals and the hands. That's great. Love the pattern in the small second subdial. The dots are really nice. It's less aggressive than a train track when you have dots here. I find that very pleasing. The lugs here are very masculine. It's a good looking watch. Score of 83. 32nd place is the Ralph Lauren 867. Why is it an 867? I don't know. 8,350 bucks. Presence of like a 36. Only 5.7 thick. Hand winding Swiss movement. Man, that is thin. It is a 32 by 32 square. So it'll have a larger presence than that would make you think, because it is a full-on square here. They made the interesting choice to do Romans and Arabics just kind of mixed all throughout, sort of like modern art sort of thing. The numbers also, it looks like on a typewriter on a sheet of paper. You type it, space, 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 type it again. It's kind of like bureaucratic the way they have these numbers here. It's an interesting watch. Not a boring one by any means. It has boring elements, but they're presented in this interesting way. Yeah, I like this one. Score of 83. 31st place is the Oan Geo Raiden. $6,490, 40 across, 10.9 thick. Just amazing what they've done with the dial. With these tiny little circles that are hand applied, these stones. The small second is just electrifying. Beautiful colors here. Interesting contrast with the gold and the silver. Got kind of an offset wording here. Oh, there's weird. There's no mark at the 6 o'clock. That's odd. I don't know why they skipped it there. This one says lizard strap. I think you can get lizard from them. Oh, that's right. Yeah, this one on the website, the actual image didn't have a strap. I mocked this up. I just put the Grand Seiko strap on the Oan Geo because they show it to you with no strap, but you can get a lizard strap from them. It's on the product page. They just don't show it with the case. Beautiful watch. A little bit loud. You know, in formal events, sometimes that's nice to have a little bit of flashiness. You know, you're all reserved, and then boom, you've got a flashy accessory. And so it would work well for that purpose. Total score of 83. 20th place is the Omega Seamaster Aquaterra Shades. 7,900 bucks, 34 across, 11.9 thick. And it's probably marketed as a ladies' watch. They do sell it on a bracelet, but you can buy it. You can buy a strap from them. I think I included that in the price. You can buy an alligator leather strap to go with it. Really nice color here, kind of a rosé look. I love these indexes, and there's no minute marks. It looks really good. It looks clean. It looks fresh. Definitely a classy watch. I like that the wording here is a little more subtle than they do on some of the other watches. You know, they still have the branding there, but at least it's more subtle on this one. Circular date cutout goes really well with this design here. A rectangle cutout would look bad, so that was the right choice if you're going to have a date window. These lugs actually look pretty good. These Seamaster lugs, they look good on a dressy watch. Yeah, it's got original stuff going on. I like it a lot. But again, it's more expensive than the Rolex Oyster Perpetual. Personally, I don't understand going for the Omega over the Rolex. Like, Rolex is king. I would just go for the Rolex. But I have included this as a finalist. We'll see how it does, whether it can make the final top 10. Total score of 83. 29th place is the Anordain Model 3. $5,141, 39 millimeters across, 10.5 thick. You've got these interesting lugs here. Very tiny lugs, angled inward. Beautiful kind of, windy lake pattern here. But it's like this cotton candy blue. I really like that. It's unfortunate it's on this background. I think it'd be more striking on a darker background. Very minimal dial printing. Another micro. Score of 84. 28th place is the Horologe Omnium K2 Micro Rotor. Okay, it's got a micro rotor movement. $5,592, 37.3 millimeters. Only 8 thick. That's the benefit of a micro rotor. You can get a thinner case. That's great. It does have an in-house chronometer grade movement. Hopefully officially certified. I assume it is. Unfortunately, there is lume on these hands. I'd prefer if there wasn't. And the pointillism logo is a little odd to me. It's just kind of plain. It's definitely a plain watch. Nothing to get too excited about. I guess you're just supposed to get excited about what's inside of it. That's probably the deal. So I'll try to show you a picture of that case back. This one also has 904L stainless steel. Okay. Total score of 84. 27th place, the Celadon Pearl Imperial Plum Blossom. $2,588, 38 across, 10.1 thick. I thought there was a pink one too. Well, anyway, here's a white one. The white looks fantastic. You've got some cool symbols here. Kind of a trident logo. That's nice. Beautiful pattern. Just wonderful guilloche dial here. I did call it a sterile dial. This is almost as sterile as you get, I suppose. I mean, a truly, truly sterile dial is hard to pull off because it can look kind of cheap. You do want a little bit of branding, and this was close enough for me to call it a sterile dial. There's no words on the watch. Total score of 84. 26th place is the Longines Master Small Second. $2,500, right near the bottom of the price range. 38.5 across, 10.2 thick. Oh man, this one looks so good. Similar to that Nomos, the blue just really pops here. This one's on a silver dial. I love silver dials. I love the engraved numerals. So classy, especially with the chapter ring situation, how they have it angled upward like this. It just makes the watch have a pleasing look to it. It's got this kind of concave appearance to it, especially with the really rounded bezel here. I really like that, how that looks. Man, yeah, Longines delivering a lot for $2,500. This one's definitely a finalist. We'll see if it makes it to the top 10. Score of 84. In 25th place, we have the Oan Geo Ultra Gray. $3,190, 40 millimeters, 10.7 thick. Beautiful guilloche. That is fantastic. Small seconds is wonderful. They say guilloche right here, so you know it's the real deal. It's a really beautiful looking watch. Looks like you have curved lug bars. Looks nice with the strap there. It's a hand-winding Swiss movement. Yeah, it's a great watch. A really nice one. Not a ton of brand strength, but it's a stunner. Total score of 84. 24th place is the Cartier Santos Dumont. $4,800. Presence, maybe like a 31.5. 7.3 thick. Yeah, what is it? 27.5 by 28.3. 38 lug to lug. You know, practically, it's probably going to be similar to a 38. You know, I'm saying 31.5. That's literally just the case area if you convert it to a circle. But I think it probably will wear more like a 38 millimeter, maybe a 36. It's really tough with these Cartiers to determine what they're going to look like. You kind of just have to try them on. So if you're considering a square watch or rectangle watch, just try it on. That's probably the best thing to do. Beautiful cabochon crown. I know these are typically on the bracelet, but you can get leather strap versions of these. So clean, so iconic. I really like the Cartier Santos. This particular version, the Dumont, is a quartz movement, which is totally fine. Please don't be discouraged by quartz. There's no second hand, you know. It's totally classy. I have that really nice Seiko quartz dress watch. The quartz is so thin, that's really ideal. It's a nice one. Score of 84. The Grand Seikos are looking better and better. It's the Grand Seiko Elegance SBGW 301. It's $5,000, 37.3 across, 11.7 thick. This one will be one of the finalists. It's going to the end. I really like the cream dial. I mentioned with the other ones, I love these indexes here. They're kind of jewel cut. Nice little needle second. Very clean. The case is very masculine. It is a hand winding movement, in-house adjusted hand winding movement. Again, though, they are thick. It's a hand winding movement, and it's still 12 millimeters thick. It's still as thick as the Rolex Submariner, dive watch. Why is it so thick? It's just what you get with Grand Seiko. Total score of 84. 22nd place, a total beauty, the Nomos Tangente 192. $4,110, 35 across, only 6.9 thick. Very thin watch, has a small seconds. I love the gold hands. The blue is nice too, but the gold is a little bit more formal, so I really like that one. It's got a little bit of sportiness to it with the minute Arabics on the perimeter, these printed standard Arabics, some Arabics. But it's dressy at the same time, so it's a good kind of all-rounder. I do think it's a good watch for a formal event. The size is fantastic. 35 is a great size. It does have a long lug to lug, 43. So, compared to its actual case size, Nomos has these long lugs. They make their own movements. It's got an in-house movement. Yeah, this is definitely a contender for the top 10. Total score of 84. 21st place is the Omega DeVille Prestige. $6,800, 41 millimeters, 10.8 thick. This is classy. I like these Roman numerals. And they didn't do all of them. That just kind of frees up the space, makes it feel a little bit more light, just from a visual perspective, when you interrupt the numerals here. The power reserve is really cool. Love how they did that with the, ram horn style power reserve indicator. The small second, just with the sector, and that's it. It's very tasteful. The wording, again, is really small. It's more subtle. Here's an example. It's not dark, black, bold. They chose a gray color for the text, and they made it smaller. I really like that aesthetically. The hands are nicely kind of rounded, not just a flat slab of metal. They have this nice rounded shape. Very, very minimal train track. It's a beauty, and they offer it in a lot of different colors. I really like this pale blue. It does have the in-house master chronometer. This is a good one. Total score of 84. 20th place is the Cuervo y Sobrinos Fleamante. $4,500, 40 millimeters across, only 6.2 thick. It's a very thin watch. They do have a pink version, I believe, of this. That's what the scorecard's indicating. That's cheesy. We don't need Fleamante right there. But the dial pattern is really, really cool. All this wavy stuff going on. I really like that. So many brands overlook the dial. It's so nice to have a really interesting dial like this, especially on dress watches, which have usually a more minimal design. It gives you the opportunity to add something interesting with the dial. Yeah, if you dig their aesthetic, this is a really dressy looking watch. This is one of their more dressy looking watches. Oh, interesting. There's little cutouts on the hand. I didn't notice that before. Kind of have the Rolex Explorer layout here with the 369. It's a really good dress watch. Score of 85. 19th place is the Cartier Ballon Bleu. $6,700. It's only a 36. It's 12.1 thick. And it's got that silver dial. The Cartier tank has a white dial. The silver is really nice. And it's got this very distinctive crown cover here. The crown is kind of sunk in. And then you've got this balloon crown cover here. And I love how the Roman numerals kind of shape around it. It's a really cool look. Lug situation is kind of interesting. If you want to swap straps, that's probably going to be a challenge. But fortunately, it is on a black leather strap. Cartier is good about that. They use black leather. I think that's the most versatile for a dress watch. This one is pretty thick though, 12 millimeters. Again, Rolex Submariner. Why is it so thick? Only 30 meters water resistance. I really don't get that. I don't understand why some of them are so thick. This is an excellent dress watch. Great size and everything. Will be a finalist. Total score of 85. Here it is. 18th place, the Cartier Tank. Must de Cartier Large. This is the large one. It's $3,800. It says presence of 33. Maybe I need to redo this formula because these are coming off smaller than they actually wear. It's 6.6 thick. Yeah, the lug to lug is almost 45. So I have a mock-up later in this video. All right, I guess I'll do it now because I made the point. You see on the wrist, it is not small at all. I mean, they call it the Cartier large. And its dimensions, you look at the dimensions, 33.7 by 25.5. You'd think it's going to be a really small watch, but it's not. It's taking up most of the wrist. It's almost similar to a 40. And that's when you have the sleeve and the cuff and everything. If you pull that sleeve back, it might look a little smaller because it's pretty short left to right, only 25 and a half. Yeah, super thin on this one. Another quartz movement watch. Cartier is not shy about quartz, and I really appreciate that because practically it's really sweet. And when you don't have the ticking second, you're not going to know the difference. I mean, you'll know the difference, and they feel a little bit different. I don't know what it is. I guess because the rotor, especially with automatic movements, you can feel that rotor. They do feel a little bit less substantial. It's hard to pin down. I doubt there's actually very much weight difference. They just feel a little different on the wrist. But I'm a big fan of quartz dress watches in particular. Total score of 85. 17th place is the Rado Thin Line. $2,524, 39 across, 5 millimeters thick. I think I need to see some pictures of this in the actual world to assess whether it's a good looking dress watch. The product image looks washed out and kind of cheap. Like, I don't know what it looks like. Sometimes you look at a picture in reality and it's all shiny and, you know, the gold has a warmer look to it or something. This looks very pale and kind of weird. Oh, it's a ceramic case. Okay, so it probably always is going to look a little weird. You viewer will see on the screen what this thing looks like out in the real world. But as I'm reviewing it here, I have question marks in my head. But it's $2,524, 39 millimeters, only 5 thick, very, very thin. Very minimal, barely any text on the dial, no minute markings, no second hand, no date. It's a very clean dress watch. It is going to be a really good dress watch. It doesn't particularly excite me. It's a very bland looking watch, very, very plain, but it'll be really good with a suit, really good for formal events. And good grief, only 5 thick. That is crazy. It's probably the thinnest one there is in this video. And of course you put it on a leather strap and it'll be even better to match the suit. Total score of 86. 16th place is the Isotope X Revolution Mercury. $2,400. Feel of more like a 40 and thickness of 10. It is 38 left to right, but there's some extra jazz going on over here. This is weird. It looks like it's not totally centered probably because this is not. No, man, if I drew a straight line, is it centered? It doesn't seem like it. I don't understand that part of it. That would probably drive me nuts. Hands are very interesting. Asymmetrical hands. These little flaps here, like wings, like a flying squirrel might have little flaps or something. Spear point at the end of the minute hand. Totally sterile. Completely sterile dial. It is hand winding. It's kind of getting a blend of rugged and refined. This screwdriver pattern on the crown is kind of industrial looking. It's got the frumpy case. It's an interesting one. Semi-futuristic. It's definitely a cool dress watch. Total score of 86. 15th place is the Cuervo y Sobrinos Asturias Pequeños Segundos. Oh, a small second. Pequeño. $3,750, 40 millimeters across, 11 thick. Almost like a linen dial. Did I call it a linen dial? I didn't. There are very few linen dials. This might be one of them, actually, even though I forgot to mark it. Again, getting minimal. That's great for a dress watch. It's great to be minimal. Real alligator leather strap, a deployant clasp on it. Yeah, these Cuervo y Sobrinos watches score really well under my system. Really interesting lugs. No loom, no date, no minute markings, minimal text. Well, I said 3 lines. It's a good one. The hands seem to be well finished. Got these little tabs on the other side. Really cool watch. Score of 86. 14th place is the Longines Master 34. $3,000, 34 millimeters, 9.2 thick. Beautiful mother of pearl dial. Does look very feminine to me. It's one reason it's not going to the finalists. It's a little bit too feminine. This one does come on an alligator leather strap with the deployant clasp. I don't think you see that all that much with Longines. It's a classy one. Score of 86. 13th place, the Fears Arnos. $4,500. Presence. I've already said I don't have high confidence in this. It's reflecting the actual size. So we'll skip that. Thickness of 8.4. All right, what's the area? It's 22.6 by 34. Okay, so it is kind of small. 40 millimeters lug to lug. Let's just look at it on the wrist. Okay, so it is small. It's definitely a small watch. Doesn't seem as small when you have the cuff. It's taking up roughly half of the wrist, at least on my 7¼ inch wrist. That's kind of what I want. I want to see it's taking up about half. I think that's a good size. In real terms, this might be more like a 36, 35. So it's got the 40 lug to lug. I love this pattern here. It's a tiny little dial you're going to be trying to read, but it's tastefully done. Ooh, I like that it says England there. It just fears England. Excellent. I wish more watches would do that sort of thing. We don't need to know that it's automatic. You know, it is an automatic movement, but you don't need that on the dial. You know, the watch owner is going to know that. You don't need to see it on the dial. You can put it on the case back. People can't figure out how the watch works. Got these kind of sharp edges to it. This is very nostalgic. I love the clock face thing going on. It's a really cool watch. The strap is apparently leather. The blue leather might be better to do a black leather because this is kind of light blue. You know, a really, really dark navy I think is good. Once the blue is too light, it starts to look more feminine and less formal. I'd prefer really, really dark blue or black. It's nice and thin. Very thin for an automatic watch, 8.4. That's impressive. So it will be a finalist. Total score of 86. 12th place is the Zinn 1746 Porcelain. $6,270. It's 42, and it's 9.5. And that 42 is why I didn't send it to the runoffs. I'm not a big fan of 42 millimeter dress watches. I think that's too big, in my opinion. I mean, if you have an 8-inch wrist, you know, it'll make more sense for you. But for most guys, for me personally, 42 is too large. I think it's going to be too large for most guys. You know, for a dress watch when you're wearing a jacket. Because that jacket really does change the dynamic as far as size is concerned. Beautiful artwork on these. They're produced in limited quantities. They have different types of artwork. And, you know, so whether you can get this specific drawing that's on this one, I don't know. And they are hand painted, so no two are going to be exactly the same as each other. But it's really evocative. It really makes me think of Germany. I think it says Frankfurt right there. It calls to mind just like the history of timekeeping and just, you know, how Germany was a part of that. It's very cool. Yeah, I'm a big Zinn fan. I'd love to have a Zinn someday. They are a very high price for me, but someday, perhaps. Total score of 86. 11th place is the Bremont Solo 34 LC. $3,795, 34 millimeters, 10.7 thick. It's very dressy, except for this weird triangle at the top, the red triangle. I don't get that. They have the airplane propeller thing. Is that what you call it? A prop? They call it a prop, right? So, yeah. They're getting some things right here, getting other things not right. It does have a cabochon crown, a black kind of jewel there. But the shape of the crown is not great. You know, I'm rewarding the fact that it has a little jewel on the crown, but it's very big. It's way too big for a dress watch. This is a mixed bag with this one. But it's the first one to get the darker green. Got up to an 87, a B+. Good size, 34 is excellent. Total score of 87. All right, I guess we're in the top 10 scoring at this point. 10th place is the March LAB Manzart. $2,995, 39.1 millimeters. Feel and thickness of 11.1. And that feel is based on overlaying a circle or a square and kind of matching the voids to the extra material and then computing. So what does it say? It's a 35 by a 34. It'll have more presence because it's almost a square. 41 lug to lug, so yeah, 39 feel is about right, in my opinion. It's very interesting where they put the crown. The case looks really weird here. They kind of leaned into some weirdness. I like the octagon with four of the sides longer and little dinky ones, and they matched that over here with the small second. It's charmingly placed here at 7 o'clock. It's a really cool place to put it. I like that a lot. I love the Venetian blind, like just the horizontal lines here. Looks really cool. And of course the gold is fantastic. And it's actual gold plating. It's not just gold PVD. It's gold plated. That's a great thing to do with a dress watch. To know, like, this is precious metal. This is something special. It's not just everyday steel that we see all over the place. I mean, it is everyday steel underneath, but it's got that gold precious metal plating on the outside. So this is a really nice one. It will be a finalist. Score of 87. Ninth place is the Nomos Orion 38. $2,680. It's 38 millimeter, 7.9 thick. This one is my favorite Nomos. I just love how clean it is. You know, a lot of them have the printed numbers, and that doesn't do it for me. This is classier with the applied indexes. They still have some of their quirkiness going on. You know, they're missing the one at 6 o'clock. They have these broken up parts here for the minute Arabics, where the indexes kind of impede on their territory. They've got their elongated M in the middle. It's all very charming. It's a little bit quirky. It's very German, and I really like it. There's a lot of precision to it. It's a little bit serious, but it's also a little bit whimsical. I like these lugs better than like the Tangente, these angled lugs. It just makes the whole thing a little bit more approachable to me than those like rigid straight lugs that you get on the Tangente, for example. And the price is not crazy. Very thin. Yeah, this is a really good one. Definitely a contender for the top 10. Total score of 88. Eighth place is the De Rijke & Company Capri. $2,573. Presence of 34. Thickness of 6.5. And yeah, the case area seems kind of small. It's a 32 by 28.5. Lug to lug is 38. So it'll be reasonable. Maybe this present should be more like 35, 36. In reality, that might be more what you experience. Beautiful stone dial, Dutch crafted, very minimal dial situation. No indexes at all. This curved glass is so cool. I think that's going to slide under the cuff really well, the fact that the whole thing is curved here. And it's only 6.5 thick, the entire thing. That is very impressive. They've achieved a lot with this one, and the score brings that out. You know, I think it's easy to overlook micro brands like this, but they're really sticking to the blueprint of what makes a really nice dress watch. They're doing something fresh that no other watch is doing. This one's definitely stand out, and it will be one of the finalists. Score of 89. Seventh place is the JLC Master Ground Ultra Thin. $5,895, 40 millimeters, 8.6 millimeters thick. This is the steel one. They do make a gold one, I believe. They have a few different variants. Like sometimes they'll have a date. This is the one just with the small seconds, no date. And these are really classy. You can still buy them new. I think they're out of production, but you can find them new with different jewelers. I think it's a deal to be had. It's not as compelling as the Reverso. Yeah, the Reverso is $9,000. This one's only $6,000. So you can get a JLC for a little bit less, 2/3 the price. This one's nice and thin, thinner than the Reverso, only 8.6. It is very plain, but like I said, for dress watches, sometimes that's a lot better. Doesn't have a ton of character. That is true. 40 is bigger than I like for a dress watch too, but especially with the high brand strength and the price and everything, this will be one of the finalists. Score of 89. Sixth place is the Grand Seiko SBGY 035. It's $8,500. 38.5 millimeters left to right, 10.2 thick. Oh, what a stunning color. I haven't seen another watch with this color. Very evocative of fall leaves. They really captured that, you know, with the texture and the color itself. It's kind of red-brown, rusty looking color. I think the chapter ring integrates really nicely with it. It kind of calls it out, gives it more pop. The fact that the chapter ring is brown. It's a stunning watch. The gold looks good with the red. The colors are cohesive with each other. The strap is nice with it as well. It's definitely a standout in the Grand Seiko line, as far as I'm concerned. These pointy indexes are really sophisticated. It does have a spring drive movement. Oh, it's listed twice. That's funny. There aren't very many, so I guess I didn't catch that. I have to change up the formula that retrieves this information. I like this one a lot. Will be a finalist. Total score of 90. Here are the top 5 simple dress watches in the near luxury price range. Fifth place, we have the Zinn 1736. $3,330, 39 across, 9.1 thick. Pretty good dimensions there. Very clean, very minimal. I love the dial texture here. They've got a little raised portion for where the minute track would be, but there is no minute track. The gold with the silver is a fantastic look. It's a good combo when it's done tastefully. The two-tone thing, made in Germany and Zinn, and that's all you get. Nice crown. I called it large. There's no way that's a large crown. Okay, discovering an error in my scoring here. It would have 2 more points. It'd be a 93. Okay, maybe it is a large crown. I'm highly skeptical looking at it right here. Let's take a look on the wrist. On my 7¼ inch wrist, it's really nice. It's taking up probably about half of the wrist area, maybe a little more than half. But 39 is still totally appropriate. I think it looks good. It's a good looking dress watch. Total score of 91. 4th place is the Omega Constellation 34. $7,700. Feel of like a 36 because you've got more case going on here. It's not just a straight 34. Thickness of 11.7. These are really classy. The blue one is really nice too. Silver is more traditional, so that's what I have here. The blue one is really nice. Date window, I mean, I'm pleased that it's a circle and it's at 6 o'clock. That is a more aesthetically pleasing way to display a date. But we don't need the date. I don't know if anyone ever does this, but couldn't you have a silver date wheel? The white is discordant. We don't need the white there. I'd prefer no date on a dress watch. It has a nice alligator leather strap with a deployant clasp. It's got an in-house chronometer movement. They didn't write that on the dial, probably because there's no room for it. But I'm pleased that there wasn't any room for them to put master chronometer or officially certified or whatever. I'm pleased that they didn't have that room. The Romans are pleasing, but then you also get the clean look of just the hour batons. I like that. There's a neat one. Score of 91. 3rd place is the Cuervo y Sobrinos Primera Dama. $2,575. Only a 36. Good. Thickness of 7.8. Havana. They've got 3 little diamonds here. Looking very feminine. If those were off, it would be a more masculine watch. And also if the hands were a little bit larger. It's looking very dainty. The femininity is not factored in. I do think it looks very elegant. Maybe a little too elegant for a man. But no, I mean, they've got the masculine lugs. So it's a mix here. I do think it's appropriate for a man to wear this. The stone dial is stunning. And they've got a lot of other options too. Only 7.8 thick. Fantastic. Quartz movement. It's a compelling choice. Again, not competing with Oyster Perpetual. So it's priced appropriately. Total score of 94. 2nd place is the Citizen Eco Drive 1 AQ 5024. It's $3,250. Width of a 36.6. Excellent width. Thickness of only 7.1. Looks so darn thin. It's going to slip under the cuff really well. The picture makes it look a little more bland. Yeah, when I found pictures where people actually had the watch, it's more impressive in person than the product shot indicates. Their logo is too bold. It needs to be just a gray, not a black. The texture on the dial is really cool. It's a solar quartz, so it charges with the light that it receives. It's an eco drive. That is really cool with a small second. It's got the tiniest crown you've ever seen, which is totally fine. It's a quartz watch. You're not going to be changing the time. Well, I guess you will with the time changes twice a year. I mean, not if you're in Japan. They don't do that nonsense. You set it and forget it. You don't worry about it. It does have a deployant clasp, real alligator leather. Citizen kicked it up with this one. This is the most formal watch that they have, to my knowledge. I know there was one that I omitted that someone pointed out. That was pretty nice too. This one takes the cake though. This is the most formal watch Citizen offers that I've seen. Total score of 94. In 1st place is the Zinn 1739 AGB. That AG stands for silver. It's $2,420. 36 millimeters. Awesome. Thickness of 9 millimeters. Yeah, the size is fantastic. I'll just show you that now because I get so excited about 36s. There it is. Just perfect balance, in my opinion. I haven't quantified exactly what I consider to be perfect balance. As I'm doing the video, I'm thinking, oh, is it about half? Maybe it's a little less than half. Maybe there's a golden ratio involved here. But I think this is perfect for a dress watch. The 36 is just right. If you want the silver one, it only comes in this one color. I know I put a silver dial here on the scorecard. That is if you get the 1739 steel version. The silver one is only offered with a blue dial. Silver is really special because the metal has more luminosity than steel. It's going to be brighter, shinier, especially when it's not tarnished. And they have a proprietary metallurgy here where it's mixed with other metals such that it does not tarnish black. It tarnishes kind of a dull yellow. and they give you a specific cloth that you can use to just wipe the yellow off and keep it nice and shiny. Yeah, their proprietary alloy was designed with the goal of making it less maintenance than regular silver. That's what you get there. I don't know the percentage of silver that's in it, but that is really cool. I would love to have a silver watch. Of all the watches in the video, this is the one that I'm most excited about, perhaps saving up for. Again, I mentioned I really like the brand of Zin, and the fact that it's silver is really compelling to me. This one is a quartz movement. Is that right? Okay, here's another mistake. It's not actually quartz. It's an automatic Swiss movement. I don't know how I made that mistake. It does have an automatic Swiss movement. The Sellita SW300, I believe. Gets the same score, so at least the score is still accurate. But yeah, disregard the quartz there. Really high brand strength, extremely elegant. I mean, I would love if they had a gold dial version of this. They do not, only the blue. The blue is still just stunning though. So that was my number one highest scoring watch. Now let's go to the runoff rounds. Here are the runoff rounds. All right, so here are 25 finalists. The 5 that got the highest scores, and then the ones that I chose subjectively to be in the final runoffs. We've got these 3 at the bottom that were originally on bracelets. Well, here they're treated as though they come on a leather. You are going to have to get a leather strap for these 3 down here. If you want them to look formal, that's what you'll have to do. And I'm scoring them as if they did. So we'll see how these ones do. But these are the 25 finalists. Okay, so I'm going to pit all these watches, the 25 watches, against each other and rank them. I'll rank them in 6 rounds. You know, the first round being formal looks. Just what has the highest formal looks, what has the lowest. Ranking all 25. It's hard to get it perfectly, but doing this exercise really brings up ones that I wouldn't have expected when I do all these different elements that I consider to be important for a dress watch. It's a more methodical approach to determining what the top 10 are. So let's get into it. Round number 1 is formal looks. And what I'm looking for here is simple, sleek, elegant, muted, but also ritzy. Can you be muted and ritzy? You know, things that stand out in these areas. Those are the ones that catch my eye. Roman numerals are very elegant, very classy. That's one reason why Cartier Tank is the one I consider to be the most formal of all the watches on the screen. This Citizen, unfortunately, I consider to be the least formal. You know, now that I've seen pictures of it, maybe it would be a little bit higher. Pictures in the real world, because it does look less sporty in the real world. It looks a lot more formal than in here. Here, their product shot, it looks kind of bland. It looks like kind of department store. It doesn't look particularly formal. But here's where I ranked it. Maybe Citizen deserves an honorable mention because their product shot doesn't look all that great, and I think that held it back throughout these final rounds. But here's where I place them for formal looks. Second round is character. This one only gets 8 points. Character, it's hard to quantify, but I know what I'm looking for, and it is iconic designs. I didn't put that here. Designs that kind of lead the pack that others want to do. It's sort of like distinctiveness. That's one of the elements of character. Also looking for things that are original, different, new, fresh. I've called this freshness in the past. This round is an opportunity to kind of bring forward the designs that are just so iconic that they're instantly recognizable. And so you'll see those ones at the top. Yeah, the Citizen, again, I don't think it would do much better for character because there really isn't very much character to it here. Zin, that's another thing. You know, when you go really minimalist, you do lose character. This March Lab has a lot of character, but it's not nearly as iconic as some of these other ones. Round 3 is impressiveness. So this is the wow factor. You know, you want really pretty dials, intrigue, quality, flashy. So Chrono Tokyo has the most impressive dial to me. Also the fact that there's no indexes on it. It's just very striking. It's very impressive. These ones at the top have high impressiveness. Even the Orion, it's very simple, but I think the simplicity is done so precisely that it does have that wow factor. You know, that's something people talk about with Nomos. You look at the watch and it's impressive what they've done. Even though it is so minimal, it's just so clean. It really catches people's attention. Right, round 4, Oh, I'm covering the AI guy's face. Okay, let me move that. Round 4 is masculinity. 10 points. And it's a little bit weird to do. There were some watches that were a little too feminine, like this Cuervo Isobrinos. I needed a way to kind of bring that out more. And the Grand Seiko, really, that's its strong suit, in my opinion, this Grand Seiko. It's a little bit plain. It doesn't really stand out as being anything particularly special. Sort of just like an Oyster Perpetual homage. But one of the ways that I think it is better than the Oyster Perpetual is the masculinity. I do think it has a nice shape to it. The OP is also very masculine. Reverso is also very masculine. Orion is great too. So this is how I tried to rank them. The Cartier tank is a more feminine look. So that was sort of near the bottom of the pack. Round 5 is affordability. And I do this to kind of even the playing field because the price range of these watches in the finalists range from $2,400 up to $9,000. And that is a big price difference. And so I have this calculation. This isn't subjective at all. It's just calculated. I have this one just to make sure that it factors in the fact that, you know, two watches of equal everything else, you know, you'd want the one that's cheaper. And brand strength has already been factored into the original score, which is a factor in this final score. But yeah, we take one that's on the lower end, the Longines Master, only 2,500. It only gets a small penalty, like a quarter of a point. And then the Grand Seiko SBGY 035, it's near the top of the price range, so it gets almost the full 6-point penalty because it costs a lot more money. And the final round, round 6, is thickness. Thickness is hugely important for a dress watch, and it is part of the original score, but I think it needs a little bit extra attention here at the end. So I have this 8 additional points that are allocated based on where it ranks in this range of thickness here. The Ballon Bleu is the thickest watch in the finalists. That's a surprise. Omega, yeah, Omegas are thick. Rolex Oyster Perpetual is actually very thick. It's strange, but it is. And here they are, ranked from thinnest to thickest. Cartier's very thin. Nomos, very thin. Cuervo Isobrinos, apparently that's a highlight of that particular brand. They tend to have thinner watches. So those were the final rounds, and now at this point, I can show you the top 10. Here are the top 10. In 10th place, we have the Grand Seiko Elegance SBGW 301. 37.3 millimeters, 11.7 thick, $5,000. It's got high formal looks, characters just kind of medium in the pack, impressiveness. It's kind of impressive. Yeah, if you know what Grand Seiko is, I guess you get excited about it, but it doesn't show that to, you know, the outside world. It's not the most impressive watch here. It is very masculine. I said it was the most masculine watch. Affordability cost it a little bit, and it is very thick. So it barely made the top 10 because it is fallen behind in a couple of these categories, and it's kind of meh in a couple. Let's take a look at it mocked up on my wrist. Okay, great size. 37.3 is good. It looks good on the wrist. Lug to lug of 44.3. That's going to work great. Excellent dress watch. Total score of 86. 9th place is the JLC Master Grand Ultra Thin. It's a 40 millimeter, so a little big. 8.6 thick. Excellent. They say ultra thin. They mean it. That's great. $5,895. It's very formal looking. Doesn't have very much character. And that's kind of the situation with most JLC watches, except for the Reverso. It's not particularly impressive either. They don't really do that. I think it's very masculine looking. Let's take a look on the wrist. On the wrist, it is looking a little bit large. The 40 is taking up more of the wrist than I like to see. It's not crazy yet. A 40 is still doable, especially if you have a larger wrist. I still think it's okay, but my preference is for a little smaller. Definitely suitable though. And although it says ultra thin, it's only getting 5 out of 8 thickness points. It's not by any means the thinnest dress watch out there. Not at all. Total score of 87. 8th place is the March Lab Mansart. Feel sort of like a 39, thickness of 11.1, price of around $3,000. It's got that gold plating. It's looking very cool. I was not expecting this to make the top 10. You know, these micro brands, I don't necessarily want to say that they compete with like JLC and Rolex and Grand Seiko and stuff, but they've got a lot to offer here. And some of it is price, you know. It's got a very small affordability penalty. They also bring a lot to the table just with fresh design. And I think people have noticed that. It's not just me who've said, wow, this watch is really special. You know, look at reviews out there. It is something special. It's very masculine. It looks pretty formal. It's got a lot of character. Let's take a look on the wrist so you see what I mean about the size. And here you see what I mean. It's not huge. It's not small. It's certainly not a 35. I think 39 is about right. That one I got it right. The presence is correct. Lug to lug of 41.1. Looks great on a 7.25 inch wrist. I don't think it's too big. I don't think it's too small. Good size. Total score of 88. Seventh place is the Zin 534. Only a 34 millimeter. It's hard to find many watches like that. It's a wonderful size. It's 9 thick, almost $3,000. At least when I prepared this. It might be more now. A lot of prices have increased. I prepared the scores a long time ago, and I didn't update all the prices. It might be more now. I think it looks very formal. It's impressive with that mother of pearl dial and the really cool faceted bezel here. It's not very masculine though. It's clearly a lady's watch. I do think it is suitable for a man, especially on this leather strap. You know, the watches in this video, it's comparatively affordable. And thickness, I guess, is middle of the pack. 9 is totally fine. It's not thick by any means. There are thinner ones though. Total score of 88. Sixth place is that Rolex Oyster Perpetual 36. It's a 36 millimeter. It's 11.5 thick, getting really thick. I don't understand why. I guess so that they have the water resistance. And the price is $6,750. Again, haven't updated. That's what it was when I prepared it. But not too crazy expensive if you can actually get one. I love the gold with the kind of champagne or silver dial. This is a sports watch. That's what it's designed to be. You know, it's thick. It has a screw down crown. It's got the 100 meters water resistance. Those are all things that are not really necessary for a dress watch. But the bonus of this one is you get the double duty. You can dress it up. And I mean, I think it's sixth place for dress watches. It's, you know, it's Rolex. So you've got that brand strength. It's a very distinctive design. They could make it dressier. They could do a dressier version of this. For example, if you took off the second hand, I know this mock-up I did is pretty rough, but you could take off the second hand. You could minimize the text. Maybe you would put Oyster Perpetual down here, you know, to make it more balanced. You could do that. You could take the loom off too. These could just be gold. I didn't go to the trouble of trying to mock that up, but you could do that. The whole thing could be a lot dressier. And yeah, apparently Gerald Genta, the designer of the Royal Oak, he wished that he had designed the Rolex Oyster Perpetual. I'll read his exact quote so I don't misquote him, attributed to him by some guy on Reddit. So hopefully it's correct, but I'll read it anyway. I regret not having designed the Oyster. It represents the biggest success in watchmaking. Today we cannot find a single watch that could possibly stand up to and pose a challenge to the Oyster in terms of stylistic breakthrough. So people have said, oh, he's just talking about the Oyster case. Well, you know, he's talking about style too, stylistic breakthrough. It's a major accomplishment. And, you know, Rolex is a leader in design. They cause others to do it. You know, I took the text off. It does take away some of the character of the watch when you do that. You know, Rolex probably knew what they were doing with all these words on the dial, with the second hand, with the loom. It just works how it is. So that thought experiment of taking the second hand, removing some words, probably not a good idea. I think Rolex knows what they're doing. The watch, as it stands, just works. I think it works for formal really well. Let's take a look on the wrist. And yeah, the 36 is so great on the wrist. I really think that's the golden window, at least for my wrist size. 36 is fantastic for a dress watch. And it does look very dressy on a leather strap. Total score of 91. In fifth place, as I mentioned, the one I'd be most likely to try to save up for is the Zin 1739 AGB. They've got that awesome proprietary alloy of silver being super shiny. It's not going to tarnish as much as regular silver. There aren't very many silver watches out there. It's 36 millimeters, 9 thick, $2,420. I was looking again, and this one, I do think it's closer to the $3,000 mark currently. It was at a certain point in time, you know, maybe 9 months ago or something. It was more like $2,400 like 9 months ago. It has gone up in price, and maybe that's partially due to the silver. It's very formal looking. Not top of the pack because of the blue. That held it back. Doesn't have very much character. It's just kind of to blend in, which is desirable for a dress watch sometimes. You don't always want to be impressive or have a ton of character. This one doesn't really have either too much. It's kind of middle of the pack masculine, very affordable compared to the other options in the video, and reasonable thickness. Let's take a look on the wrist. I just love how this 36 looks. This is an excellent size. When I showed that golden ratio thing, you kind of include the lugs a little bit. This is absolutely perfect. The actual presence of the watch head is just about perfect. It's just about 5/8 of the total width of the wrist. Very good. Final score of 91. Fourth place is that JLC Reverso Classic Mono Face. Size, okay, we'll ignore that for a second. I'll show you the dimensions when I show it on the wrist. Thickness of 7.6, price of $9,000, right near the top. And I would recommend getting a leather strap with this. Very formal looking. It's got a lot of character. It's got that party trick where you flip the case around. It's fairly impressive looking on the front. I think it's super masculine. It's a very masculine looking watch to me. It got the full 6-point affordability penalty. If price is no object to you, then this is more like second place. It's very, very thin. Let's take a look on the wrist. On my 7¼ inch wrist, this looks so good. 40 millimeter lug to lug. It's just flawless. It's a really excellent dress watch size, especially with the jacket and the sleeve. Total score of 91. Third place is a Longines Master Small Second. 38.5 millimeters across, 10.2 thick, $2,500. This was a surprise to me. I like it. It didn't really pop up on my radar until I did all these rounds and everything. It is extremely formal looking. It has a lot of character. I think it's fairly impressive as well with these engraved numerals. Just the overall feel you get looking at it, it looks really nice. It's very affordable for this particular price range. It's on the bottom end. And yeah, it is thicker than average of these ones in the finalists. But you put that all together, and this is a compelling option. Let's take a look on the wrist. On the wrist, it's looking good. You know, like that golden ratio, I think my golden ratio said 37.8 would be exactly 5/8 of my wrist width. This is pretty darn good. Maybe slightly big. No, it's perfect. Longines is perfect. Total score of 93. Second place is the Cartier Tank Must de Cartier Large. Let's ignore the size. We established it has a presence bigger than this. Thickness of 6.6. Very, very thin. $3,800. I mean, it's such an iconic design. So character, 8 out of 8. Formal looks, 12 out of 12. It's very formal, ton of character. It's pretty impressive too. I think, you know, you turn heads with the watch. It's impressive. It's not very masculine in my opinion. And this is the large one, so that does help. But just the design of it is not the most masculine in the world, with all the curves and the softness and then the jewel. It's getting a little bit on the feminine side there. Not as expensive, for example, as an Oyster Perpetual. And this makes a better dress watch than that Oyster Perpetual. It's very, very thin. Let's take a look on the wrist. Like I said in the main video, this Cartier is not tiny. Well, they call it the large. You know, I'd ignore presence of 33. It's going to be more like a 39, 40. The lug to lug is ample for my wrist, 7¼ inch. Its final score was 95. What's in first place? Drum roll. It's the Nomos Orion 38. Surprise! It's 38 millimeters across, only 7.9 thick, $2,680. Yeah, its original score was pretty low, only 88. Well, I shouldn't say low. That was a B+. Gets all the way up to A+ when you take into account the subjective factors. It is very formal looking, very clean, very precise. The gold really helps with the formal looks of it. Character is not as high. Nomos is not particularly full of character. I did think this one was impressive due to the design. You know, that design is very striking. I think it's a very masculine watch. It just looks like reserved and, you know, confident, masculine traits. The affordability, it's near the bottom of the price range, so that helped it a ton. And it's also very thin. It's just all around a good watch. Really excellent watch. I think the best dress watch in this price range is this Nomos. And of course, I would go with the silver one just because I want that silver. That's really the main thing. I mean, I really like the Zen design, but the silver is very compelling to me. This one, I have to admit, is the best simple dress watch in this price range. Let's take a look on the wrist. The Orion is beautiful. If we take that golden ratio, I'm all about that golden ratio now. If we take that golden ratio, this is just about perfect. What did I say? 37.8 would be perfect for my wrist. It looks really good. Goes really well with the gray suit. Total score of 97. All right, so those were the top 10. Number 1 was Nomos Orion. We had the Cartier Tank, the Longines Master Small Second, the JLC Reverso Classic Monoface, the Zinn 1739 Silver, the Rolex Oyster Perpetual 36, the Zinn 534, the March Lab Mansart, the JLC Master Grand Ultra Thin, and the Grand Seiko Elegance SBGW 301. All right, let's check out 5 runners-up. All right, here are my 5 runners-up. The first runner-up is the Derishki & Company Capri. Size, the size, it is going to be kind of small. Maybe not that small, but, the dimensions are quite small. Thickness is 6.5. You can see it on the guy's wrist. It's not microscopic by any means. Price of $2,573. Yeah, this one, my first run through, it did actually make the top 10. I have to go back several times and kind of adjust things. Think about it a little bit more. I don't think it'll ever be perfect, but I try my best to really refine it as much as I can. It's a fantastic watch, coming out of nowhere. Very interesting, doing some unique stuff. Yeah, that's my first runner-up. Second runner-up is the Grand Seiko SBGY 035. It's a 38.5. It's 10.2 thick. $8,500. Very expensive, but where else are you going to get a dial like this? Nowhere. Nowhere else will you get the kind of turning of the leaves color here. Looks like autumn in watch form. So classy with these nice sharp hands. It really is something special. So that was my second runner-up. Runner-up number 3 is that Citizen Eco Drive AQ5024. It's 36.6, excellent size, very thin, only 7 thin, $3,250. Yeah, and those pictures really make it look classier than the product shot. This one gets a special mention. It maybe should have been in the top 10. I don't think it would have won by any means. It's not particularly impressive. Doesn't have all that much character, but it does look more formal. That would have helped the score. And so it probably would have been in the top 10 if I used people's real world images instead of the stock photo. I think it would have gotten higher than this. So just keep that in mind. This is a really good dress watch too. That was my runner-up number 3. Number 4 is the Nomos Tangente 192. It's a 35. That is so good. That is an excellent size. And real world experience, especially with these long lugs, it's not going to feel tiny. It's a good size. It's just a great size for a watch. I know it's been praised by a lot of people. Teddy Baldassar, for example. Very, very thin. Very classy. I do prefer the Orion, and I think other people do too. But this is a nice one from Nomos. It's probably a more famous design than the Orion. It's kind of what Nomos is known for. Great dress watch. That was my number 4. And the last runner-up is the Cuervo y Sobrinos Flamante. 40 millimeters across, only 6.2 thick, super thin, $4,500. I was surprised this made the runners-up. There's other ones below it that you think maybe those ones should have made it, but this is my number 5. They're doing something special here. They have unique designs. It's definitely a cool one. It's a little bit weird for me, personally. It's making too strong of a statement for formal. But if you like a strong statement, it's a really cool watch for sure. So those were my 5 runners-up. The Derishki, the Grand Seiko, the Citizen, the Nomos, and the Cuervo y Sobrinos. Yeah, we saw a lot of really good watches in this video. It was fun to put together. They're, even though I said near luxury, they would all be a luxury for me. And that's probably true for most people. But like I do in all these videos, at the end, after I talk about watches, I like to talk about the Bible. So that's what I'm going to do now. It's Bible time. Welcome to Bible time. Today we'll be looking at the first one of the 4 woes found in Jesus' Sermon on the Plain in Luke 6. And I'm dressed like this because I was talking about fancy watches. I pull these Bible times out of those videos, those watch videos. But anyway, the verse comes from Luke 6:25a. It says, "Woe to you who are well fed now, for you will go hungry." And these 4 woes come right after the Luke 6 4 Beatitudes. They're kind of parallel to them. There's sort of an expansion. It's not just that there's a blessing for one thing, there's also a woe for the opposite. And when Jesus did this, when he reframed those blessings as woes, it's very revealing. It's kind of a fresh way of looking at a core truth. So I have a chart here, and today we're on the second one. Verse 21, he said, "Blessed are you who hunger." And then the one we're covering today, the woe, he says in verse 25a, "Woe to you who are well fed." As in the Matthew 5 Beatitude series I covered earlier, the categorization here subverts our expectations. When they say blessed, the Greek word makarioi literally means well off. When Jesus said, "Blessed are you who hunger," it's kind of opposite town of that Greek word, makarioi, because that means to be well off. So why are you hungry if you're well off? When he says, "Woe to you who are well fed," yeah, hungry is the opposite of being well off. So this is perplexing. And we'll explore what's going on here with this provocative framing. So a key theme in these woes, just overall, is our human focus on the concerns of the body. And those are worldly concerns. And kind of the big overall picture is that Jesus is calling us to increase our focus on spiritual matters and decrease our focus on the needs and desires of our body. We want to be happy, we want to be well fed, we want to be rich. Well, those are smaller concerns than the heavenly matters that we should be thinking of. Last Bible time I explained the meaning of the word woe, but I'll explain it briefly again. It's used numerous times in the Old and New Testaments. It's often used to excoriate bad behavior. It's sort of like, your kid does something bad and you say, "Just wait till I get home, Johnny." It's like, watch out, there's something bad is going to happen based on what you did. That's kind of the impression I get with these woes. But let's cover the other 2 Greek words here. So the first one is well fed, and that's Strong's 1705. Oh no, what is this? Empeplismonoi. Empeplismonoi. That was my best attempt. It means to fill up, to satisfy, literally or figuratively, because it's not always just about food. But I think he makes it clear in this passage he is talking about food. One example where this word was used in another spot in the Bible was John 6:12. It's the feeding of the 5,000. When they had all had enough to eat, he said to his disciples, "Gather the pieces that are left over. Let nothing be wasted." So had enough to eat. That makes it very clear what the word means. There was literally loaves and fishes. And when people had had enough to eat of that, he had asked them to gather up the pieces. And of course, there's much more abundance than you would expect. But that was just to illustrate another example of where the word is used. Okay, the next word is the opposite side of the coin, the hunger. And the Greek word here is penasete. It's Strong's 2983. Penasete. It means hungry, pinching, pining. It means to famish. There's sort of like this uncomfortable situation where you're being like pinched. Another place where that's used is in John 6:35. Then Jesus declared, "I am the bread of life. Whoever comes to me will never go hungry, and whoever believes in me will never be thirsty." So he said the bread of life. So it's clear this is talking about food. Yeah, there can be a figurative meaning there, like we hunger for the truth or something. But just like in English, the root meaning of the word is to crave food, to like your body is hungry. I'm actually a little hungry right now myself. But let's get into the interpretation. So I have a 3-point outline on this one. The first point is satiety. Satiety being well fed. Satiety pacifies. That was point number 1. What I'm getting here with saying pacifies is that when we are well fed, we are physically content. Like the baby who's pacified by their pacifier, we become content. Contentment with our worldly state can actually be harmful to our spiritual growth. So when we're well fed, we're content, and that can be harmful to us. It's kind of counterintuitive. When we think we have it all, when we think we're good, like, oh, I'm good, we lose that hunger for God. Hungering and thirsting for righteousness is a good thing, as Jesus said in the Matthew 5 Beatitudes. And with this parallel, Sermon on the Plains excerpt, that hunger goes away when we're well fed and satiated. Ezekiel 16:49-50. Now this was the sin of your sister Sodom. She and her daughters were arrogant, overfed, and unconcerned. They did not help the poor and needy. They were haughty and did detestable things before me. Therefore I did away with them, as you have seen. So we know about Sodom. God destroyed Sodom. When they were overfed, when their physical needs were met in abundance of what is even necessary, they were not at all concerned about the poor and needy. When we are well fed, like literally well fed, we forget about serving God. Another passage is Deuteronomy 8:10, verse 14. When you have eaten and are satisfied, praise the Lord your God for the good land he has given you. Okay, so we can be well fed. So it's okay to eat and be satisfied, but we should praise God for it. Be careful that you do not forget the Lord your God, failing to observe his commands, his laws, and his decrees that I'm giving you this day. So there's a danger there. We're well fed. You might forget. Do not forget the Lord your God. Otherwise, when you eat and are satisfied, when you build fine houses and settle down, when your herds and flocks grow large, and your silver and gold increase, and all you have is multiplied, then your heart will become proud, and you will forget the Lord your God who brought you out of Egypt, out of the land of slavery. That's exactly what Jesus is saying. Having that physical comfort can pacify us, can take away our fire. We just become complacent. My next verse is Amos 6:1. Woe to you who are complacent in Zion, and to you who feel secure on Mount Samaria, you notable men of the foremost nation to whom the people of Israel come. Woe to you, just like Jesus said, woe to you who are complacent. I think that's what Jesus is talking about, being well fed, is that there's a danger you're going to become complacent. You're going to feel too secure and lose that reliance on God, be pacified. Proverbs 1, verse 28 through 33. Then they will call to me, but I will not answer. They will look for me, but will not find me. Since they hated knowledge and did not choose to fear the Lord, since they would not accept my advice and spurned my rebuke, they will eat the fruit of their ways and be filled with the fruit of their schemes. For the waywardness of the simple will kill them, and the complacency of fools will destroy them. But whoever listens to me will live in safety and be at ease without fear of harm. So this proverb is calling out the complacency that can come from just focusing too much on ourselves. They eat the fruit of their ways and are filled with the fruit of their schemes. When our figurative belly is already full with our own worldly nonsense, we don't seek the knowledge of God. It makes us complacent, pacified, not hungering for God's word. So yeah, that was my first point. Satiety pacifies. The second point is very similar. Satiety preoccupies. And what I mean by this is that being well-fed decreases our attention on God and increases our attention on ourselves. Our focus is diverted. The first one was like, oh, we're just so comfortable. But it actually diverts our focus as well. And I know it's pretty similar to that last point, but I'll go in a different direction here. There's an interesting, unexpected effect to being hungry. It actually increases our attention on God. And that's why the spiritual practice of fasting is mentioned so often in the Bible. Personally, I've only ever done a 24-hour fast one time. I think 24-hour is good for health reasons. Frankly, I'm terrified by the idea of fasting for long periods of time. But I know medically, it's not recommended to do extreme fasts. Fasting for a 24-hour period, you can bounce right back. It's not going to cause some detrimental effect to your body, but I really felt it. And practically what I did is I ate dinner, and then I just didn't eat again until it was the next dinner time. That's how you get to 24-hour fast. I do want to do it again because it was powerful, and also mainly just because Jesus exhibited it in the Bible, prophets exhibited it, disciples did this spiritual practice as well. It's all been modeled for us in the Bible. So fasting is not just for the practical benefits that I might get, because there are practical benefits to fasting, and I experienced that, but it's also an act of obedience to God. And I think this is a good example in Luke 6 of fasting is probably a good idea. It's going to grow you spiritually. In my personal experience, the hunger was there the whole time. I definitely was distracted by that, or maybe distracted from my worldly stuff and more focused on God. That's the practical element of it. But what was the hardest for me was just I had a pounding headache the whole time. My body does not react well to skipping meals. Maybe that would get easier over time. But yeah, the headache was really intense. That's what makes me not want to do it again. But I do want to do it again because it did bring me closer to God. It just constantly reminded me of God, because I would feel that hunger and I would think of God. I would think of my relationship with him and the spiritual act that I was doing. And it humbled me in a way nothing else really does. I felt weaker. I felt pain in my head. I felt longing for food. And that kind of directed me back onto what's important. Kind of just helps clarify things. But I've got a few verses on fasting, or just this point in general, as applicable. The first one is Mark 2, verse 18 through 20. Now John's disciples and the Pharisees were fasting. Some people came and asked Jesus, "How is it that John's disciples and the disciples of the Pharisees are fasting, but yours are not?" Jesus answered, "How can the guests of the bridegroom fast while he is with them? They cannot, so long as they have him with them. But the time will come when the bridegroom will be taken from them, and on that day they will fast." So I think this passage makes clear that the point of fasting, at least one of the points of it, is to bring us closer to God. Jesus is saying, there's no point in fasting because I'm here with them right now. They were with Jesus. It kind of takes away the purpose of the fasting. That's what I'm pulling out of this. I think it does illustrate that point, that's one of the objectives. Probably the primary objective is to bring us closer to God. And so there's no point when Jesus is right there. There's also some evidence to suggest that fasting might increase the power of prayer. And there's more verses, but I've just got a couple here. First one is Ezra 8, 22 through 23. "I was ashamed to ask the king for soldiers and horsemen to protect us from enemies on the road, because we had told the king, 'The gracious hand of our God is on everyone who looks to him, but his great anger is against all who forsake them.'" He kind of made this boast, God will protect us. "So we fasted and petitioned our God about this, and he answered our prayer." So they prayed, but they also fasted. This passage heavily implies that fasting played a key part in the efficacy of their petition to God. I've got another one. This is Mark 9, verse 25 through 29. It's probably the more famous one on the topic of fasting. "When Jesus saw that the people came running together, he rebuked the unclean spirit, saying to it, 'Deaf and dumb spirit, I command you, come out of him and enter him no more.' Then the spirit cried out, convulsed him greatly, and came out of him. And he became as one dead, so that many said, 'He is dead.' But Jesus took him by the hand and lifted him up, and he arose. And when he had come into the house, his disciples asked him privately, 'Why could we not cast it out?' His disciples already tried to cast out this demon. They failed. So he said to them, 'This kind can come out by nothing but prayer and fasting.'" And so, people will cite that as like, okay, fasting will kick up your prayer a notch. Now, I do have to point out that other translations, older translations, don't have the word fasting there. They say, "This kind can come out by nothing but prayer," period. It seems somebody added fasting in there at some point. Yeah, there's definitely disagreement with sources. So even though that's the case, what this does illustrate is that there's a common belief among believers that fasting, denying our bodies, brings us closer to God. So whether or not that's exactly what Jesus said, and of course there's translations and stuff, so he was speaking, who knows what, Aramaic, Greek, maybe he was speaking Aramaic. It does point out that the Christian tradition does hold that fasting makes one's prayers and petitions to God stronger. All right, I have one more verse. This is 1 Samuel 2, verse 4 to 5. "The bows of the warriors are broken, but those who stumbled are armed with strength. Those who were full hire themselves out for food, but those who are hungry no more. She who was barren has borne 7 children, but she who has had many sons pines away." And yeah, this is pretty deep. We could explore this a lot. I won't do that, but it gets to that subversion of expectations like we have in Luke 6, passage of today. We expect the woman with many sons to be happy, but verse 5 says that she pines away. She got all these sons and she's pining. So what's the difference between these two women, the one who's content and the one that's not content? Well, the woman who is blessed with abundance doesn't realize that the abundance comes from God. It's my interpretation. And then the barren woman is more grateful to receive God's blessing. She was lacking. She was symbolically hungry. There was something she really wanted. When God gave it to her, she was grateful for it. The woman who she got it without any sort of, crying out to the Lord or, suffering, she just got it right away. She didn't value it as much. And then earlier in the same passage, those who are full are so pleased with this that they hire themselves out for food. They're distracted by that. They're preoccupied by that food, and they hire themselves out to work just for food. They're not working for God. They're working to get that food. So our blessings can make us focus too much on earthly things. Being satisfied can distract us. And then conversely, suffering and hardship actually bring us closer to God. So that was my second point. Satiety preoccupies. We become preoccupied with being satisfied. Being satisfied actually preoccupies us, distracts us from God. All right, my third and final point is that satiety is passing. And perhaps the clearest conclusion that we can draw from the source text is this exact point, that being filled is temporary. It passes away. Those who are well-fed will go hungry. It's guaranteed. You're going to be hungry again. You're not going to eat something and then never be hungry again. John 4, verse 10 through 14 is the woman at the well. Jesus answered her, "If you knew the gift of God and who it is that asks you for a drink, you would have asked him and he would have given you living water." "Sir," the woman said, "you have nothing to draw with and the well is deep. Where can you get this living water? Are you greater than our father Jacob, who gave us the well and drank from it himself, as did also his sons and his livestock?" Jesus answered, "Everyone who drinks this water will be thirsty again, but whoever drinks the water I give them will never thirst. Indeed, the water I give them will become in them a spring of water welling up to eternal life." Okay, so the water from the well, the food that we eat, we're not going to be satisfied forever from that. But if you drink the living water that comes from Jesus, that never ends. It's never-ending satisfaction. Next verse I have is 1 Peter 1, verse 23 through 25. "For you have been born again, not of perishable seed, but of imperishable, through the living and enduring word of God. For all people are like grass, and their glory is like the flowers of the field. The grass withers, and the flowers fall, but the word of the Lord endures forever." Just pointing out the temporary nature of everything we have on this earth. But the word of the Lord endures forever. Our hunger will come back, but the word of God will fill us forever. The next verse is Psalm 102, verse 25 through 27. "In the beginning you laid the foundations of the earth, and the heavens are the work of your hands. They will perish, but you will remain. They will all wear out like a garment. Like clothing, you will change them, and they will be discarded. But you remain the same, and your years will never end." God does not pass away. God is forever. 2 Corinthians 4, 16 through 18. "Therefore, we do not lose heart. Though outwardly we are wasting away, yet inwardly we are being renewed day by day. For our light and momentary troubles are achieving for us an eternal glory that far outweighs them all. So we fix our eyes not on what is seen, but on what is unseen. Since what is seen is temporary, but what is unseen is eternal." Yeah, that loaf of bread that we can see will satisfy us for a small amount of time and then be over. But what is unseen will never pass away. This is my last verse. "God can also turn the tables on our earthly situation." Yeah, that's another thing that's temporary. Whatever our earthly situation is, it can change and likely will change. Luke 1, verse 53. "He has brought down rulers from their thrones, but has lifted up the humble. He has filled the hungry with good things, but has sent the rich away empty." So it talks about filling the hungry with good things. Those good things from God are eternal things. And that's much better than being filled with food. So that was my third point. Satiety of the body is passing. It goes away. We're going to be hungry again. You will be hungry. First we had satiety pacifies. We become complacent. We don't have that drive towards God. Second point is that satiety preoccupies. It distracts us. We receive abundance, and all of a sudden we're focused on that abundance. We have a great meal, we become kind of dull and just content. So there's great value in actually fasting, denying our bodies, so that we'll be more focused on God and less content. And then finally, satiety is passing, totally temporary. When we're well fed, we will go hungry again. In conclusion, woe to you who are well fed, for you will go hungry. Being well fed can pacify us, it can preoccupy us, and it's passing, temporary. So it would be wise for us to heed Jesus' warning against the complacency that comes from being too comfortable in our lives. So that's all I had on the passage. And next week, I will cover the third woe, which is Luke 6:25b. Woe to you who laugh now, for you will mourn and weep. I look forward to it. Now for a prayer. Lord, thank you for these woes, the 4 woes. It is illuminating. It is kind of expanding upon the truths that we studied in the Matthew 5 Beatitudes. It's kind of just a different way of looking at it. And, it is perplexing at first to think, woe to you who are well fed. It does kind of subvert the expectations. Of course, I believe the point that you were making is that we can easily become distracted with these worldly things, with being really well fed, being comfortable, and that can distract us from focus on helping the poor, helping the needy, focusing our eyes on heaven, internalizing your word, spending time with you in prayer. When things are going so well, at least from my personal experience, I don't focus on you as much. And Lord, I pray that you would help keep that hunger alive within me. Keep me pursuing you. And I look forward to that glorious day when there will be no more suffering. We will be with you forever in eternity. All of us who believe on Jesus. Lord, we love you. I pray all this in Jesus' name. Amen. Now may the Lord of peace himself give you peace always and in every way. The Lord be with you all. See you next time.